Hey, what's going on, everybody? How's everyone doing? What up, what up, what up? Happy Tuesday. Hope everyone's doing well. Zakito, I'll take that. Gotta keep it going. What's going on, everybody? How's everybody doing? How's everybody's weekend? How's everybody's Tuesday going? Excited you're all here. Excited to get into some objects. Tony Diamond grinding. All right, I'll take that for sure. I'm still following, I swear. Hey. Cleaned and reorganized your office space. So such good vibes in here. Heck yeah. That's what I need to do. I gotta fix up this desk. Gotta do all my rewiring. That's what I'm doing after class. After class, I gotta do a few things. Gotta do some Discord things. Gotta put some videos on YouTube, and then the desk will be tackled, and it has to be tackled. Topher, hey, thank you so much for the 3 months. Appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Alrighty, folks, happy Tuesday. Ready to get into this stuff. We do have a question of the day. Would you rather be an expert in bird watching or an expert in horse riding? Jersey Boss Babe, hey, thank you for the subs. 3 months. All right, let's go. Now, see, I thought this would be really... Oh, it is really one-sided. I thought it'd be one-sided. A lot of people are feeling the horse riding. I can see that. I want to be an expert in bird watching. That's my pick for tonight. David with the bits. Thank you so much. Putting out your extreme support for the horse riding there. I love it. Hype train already? Jeez. Woo. Alrighty. Super ready for objects, Dev. I'll take that for sure. All right. So we got a lot of fun stuff to get into tonight. We're going to do a little bit of review, a speed run review. We're going to then do some practice of that review. And then we're going to practice and review some arrays. And then, of course, we'll take a break. And then after the break, we're going to jump into objects. We got some fun stuff to go through with objects today. Hey, Jersey Boss Baby, thank you for the gifted sub. This is the real Johnny Cakes got it. That's awesome. Hey, there we go. So we're going to get into some objects. We're going to learn all about objects. We're going to learn about some of the easy parts, some of the hard parts. We're going to learn about APIs and how to start getting data back from servers. And so it's going to be fun. Got a lot of good stuff to get into, some fun homework as well. And then that'll be it for this evening. Should be a good class. Glad you're all here. Glad you're back after the weekend. Let's start off with some questions, as always. Let's start off with some questions. We're gonna go to little Leon here. Some questions. You got any questions? Ooh, we got a... thank you so much for the hydration. Cheers to you. Starting off. I'm already through it, folks. I'm about halfway already. Normally I have a little bit more in here. Spaghetti about it. When is Get Thursday? Yeah, we're going to introduce it on Thursday. Excited to kind of get you into some Git stuff. So yeah, Thursday will be when it is. This isn't the new song yet. Not the new song yet. Thursdays are extraordinaire. We're going to have a lot of fun stuff planned for Thursday. We got a merch drop. We got new music. Maybe a little bit different look here on the stream. Then we got some Git. Yeah, I'm ready for Thursday. What's the best way to juggle work, new clients, while still keeping up with class? Anything to focus on the most? Mansa, hey, thank you so much for the sub. Appreciate you being here. 3 months of Jeff Bezos's bucks. I'll take that for sure. Let's go. All right. How to balance everything. I think that's hard. I think that's a very difficult scenario for anyone. And I think we've talked a little bit about it in the past. I told you how I kind of plan out my week. I plan out my next day, and I find that gives me a lot of intentionality to the week. Like I'm not going into the week like an accident, right? I know I have class on this day, I have work on this day, and I schedule everything scheduled. And so I found that really relieving. It takes some mental processing off of me throughout the week. I kind of just go, and I schedule in my relaxation. I take my breaks. So that's what I do. I highly recommend it. Highly recommend that you plan out your next day so you know like the 3 big things you got to get through each day and make time for it. And then it's about It's not always about the number of hours, but how much essence you're pulling out of the hours that you do have. So if you only have 5 hours a day, or if you only have 2 hours a day, are those 2 hours focused? Are you locked in? Are you ready? You're not distracted, right? So that's kind of what I do. Simba checked in. Simba did check in. If you haven't checked in, you can always do ! check in, and that'll take you to our tweet of the day. Go ahead and retweet and like that so more folks can learn about how to code. Cool. Let's see if we got any other questions here. A lot of people did some cleaning. Cookie did some cleaning too. I feel like this cleaning vibe is something I need to carry into my today. I feel like after stream I need to get my clean on. Bring a little bit of peace to this monstrosity that's in front of me that you can't see. Sarah, you'll be in and out tonight. Hey, well, glad you're here. Glad you're able to be with us for a little bit. Can we touch on factory functions while we're learning objects? Yeah, we're gonna learn about them. Getters and setters, we're gonna get there. Tonight's gonna be our taste of objects. We're gonna see kind of like the big pieces, the important stuff, how they're made, and that's kind of gonna set our brain in the right way. Thursday, we're gonna kind of reinforce some of those objects, learn some more of the advanced stuff, get into that Git and GitHub just so we can start like putting our code into repositories. And then, next week we start kind of getting into full stack a little bit. We're going to take that idea of objects, build some cool stuff with them, and then start to understand how we can move into full stack. So next week it's getting fun. Today's fun. Excited. All right, maybe one or two more questions. How do we know when to use anonymous functions with the array methods? So a lot of the array methods take in a function. It's just a little bit easier of a syntax if it takes in a function, like if it does something and it needs to do something. Remember, functions are what we use to do actions, right? And so a lot of times if the methods need to do an action, you're going to use a function, and it might just be easier to use an arrow function or anonymous function just to clean up your syntax a little bit. Hey, Dev Henry, thank you for the 3 months spending Bezos's bucks. Let's go. Alrighty. Ooh, Hype Train 2. Look at that. It's like a raptor or something. That's pretty cool. Oh, that's the new PogChamp. It's smaller on my screen. I couldn't see what it was. Let's go. Alrighty. Oh, there you go. Don't forget Bingo. ! Bingo in chat if you want to play along with Bingo. That is the game we play every stream. Go ahead and as you hear the words get said, mark off your places, and if you get Bingo, put Bingo in chat. Alrighty, folks. I feel like we shouldn't waste any time. I feel like we should jump right into it. So let's just review real quickly. We got a few things to talk about. We're going to review our functions and our loops, always to get that spaced repetition in. Then we're going to go through our arrays. I'm going to chill the music so we can hear a little bit better. We're going to go through our arrays. We're going to learn about objects. We're going to learn about some basics API work. And then your homework is to do some more object reading and a little bit more challenges. So some fun stuff to get through. Let's get into it. Thank you for the hype train already. I'm excited. On Thursday, I got a big thank you planned for everyone that's been part of this community. As a thank you for being here, for all the folks that have subbed or given bits, and also another thank you to, we're about to make the donation to RC. I already kind of set it up and it's going to go through, and I'm going to do a big thank you. So I appreciate everyone that does the subbing and the bidding. As always, it's never, ever, ever necessary. But everything that does come in goes to the nonprofit I work at during the day, Resilient Coders. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for all the primes that came in today, and always. I really appreciate that. Cool. Let's get into it. Wonderfield, have a resub coming in 3 days. All right, here we go. All right. First thing tonight that I want to talk about, health first. I talked to a lot of folks over the weekend, caught up with quite a few folks, and there's something really important that we got to keep in mind, right? This is class. We're here to learn, and we're here to push ourselves so that we can become the best developers that we can. But your mental and physical well-being should always take priority. If you ever need more time, you need an extension, you need some support, just let me know. Just reach out. We'll make it right. We'll make it work for you. Still going to ask you to push yourself. But if you're feeling some sort of emotional, spiritual, physical, mental stress and things about the program are taking you to a breaking point, please don't continue along that same path. Reach out. We'll talk about it. We'll find a way that works well for you that still kind of keeps you going, but makes sense. So I don't want folks panicking and stressing and not reaching out. Reach out. We'll make it work. All right. So health first, always. I want this to be kind of like a motto within the 100 Devs community. Hadoken 11, thank you so much for the sub. Woohoo, 3 months. Oh boy. This is wild. So many people have been subbed for like so many months. BB Tone, hey, thank you for the gifted sub. All right. Oh, MB, I like that. Push yourself does not equal breaking yourself. Hell yeah. So I want this to kind of be like a thing in the 100 Devs community. When you see somebody is super stressed, when you see somebody is pushing a little bit too far, and if they're asking for some support them, right? Don't use this as like a mocking thing. This is supposed to be like I want you all to think about this every day, is that health first, right? Make sure that you're treating your mental health correctly. Make sure you're treating your physical health fine, and don't push yourself to the breaking point. If you need help, reach out, get the support you need. All right. Health first. I wanted to say that before we started off. Coding challenges. So scheduling stuff on Discord is stupid hard. I had no idea that scheduling a stupid message a day or two in advance would be so mind-bogglingly difficult. 3 different bots, 2 didn't work, 1 broke. So it's been weird. It's been weird. So I'm still trying. I got 1 more bot that I'm trying that I have a lot of hope in. I got 1 more that I got some hope in, and we're gonna try that one. If not, we're gonna do it manual. If not, I'm gonna release a bunch at the beginning of the week. But for now, the bot situation has been weird. I'm thinking about maybe the notification can't be on Discord or something like that. Do I sense a group project? Yeah. PBJ, I thought about that, tweeting them. I've thought about that because I can definitely schedule the tweets, but for whatever reason, I wanted it to be on Discord, but for whatever reason, it's been pretty tricky. So we'll see. I'm going to try that tonight. Tonight's like my last like honest attempt at it. So you'll see the daily challenge come through tonight manually if anything else fails. And for the rest of the week, they'll just go up manually. But been a little weird. So don't worry. There wasn't any over the weekend. There's going to be 1 post-it today. And for the rest of the week, you have 48 hours to complete them. And then I'm going to ask to collect them every Friday. So every Friday, I'm going to ask for your networking sheet. And every Friday, I'm going to ask for your coding challenges. So just know that that's coming up. You'll see them manually. All right. So Chocho, that's what we're doing. Yeah. So starting next week, they'll be all forked in, but still I need to post like the repositories and stuff like that. But yeah, that's what we'll be doing next week. Deb, yeah, all of the past videos and office hours are scheduled to go up today. So they should be like premiering right after class, or not premiering, but like going live after class. So all of them are scheduled on YouTube. You're going to start seeing them all go up today after class, just so that after class, if you want to go on YouTube and watch some of the past ones, they'll be there. And I'm putting up the most recent office hours as well, and all the office hours will be going out there afterwards. Premiere is like a weird thing because like YouTube has like their own Premiere thing. So I'm going to say something different. It's just going to be posted right after class. Cool. Alrighty. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Yeah, so what you'll wind up doing for the coding challenges is that you will wind up pushing them to your own GitHub repo. and that GitHub repo will have the challenges in it. And then what we'll do is we kind of get a little bit further into our kind of Git knowledge. Spliff, hey, thank you for the 4 months of Prime. Woo. Once we kind of get a little bit more comfortable and the whole cohort feels pretty comfortable with Git and GitHub, there will be repositories that you're just forking and creating branches and pushing to. That'll make it a lot easier for me to see all your code. So we're going to start incorporating Git and GitHub to like submit them, and hopefully we can figure out how to get them posted into the channel. Yeah. Cool. All right, folks, we got some fun stuff to get into. Let's keep going. We're going to add an extra class. So we're going to add an extra class, probably on Fridays. So not this Friday, but next Friday will be our first Friday class. So not this one, but next Friday will be our first Friday class, and it's going to be a live portfolio and resume review. So it's a chance for us to kind of get some extra stuff in that's not directly coding, but could have a big impact on our ability to get jobs. And so if you would like your resume and or portfolio to be part of the live portfolio review, you can go ahead and share it on this form, right? You can go and watch this, submit it on this form, and then I'll be picking a handful of them to go through our time together, pointing out some good things in portfolios, some things that could be improved, good things to have in your resume, good things that could be improved. And my hope is that after everyone gets a chance to see these live, then you can start putting work into your own portfolio and your own resume to do all those tweaks. So if you want to, go ahead. We're going to do the same time, 6:30. We're going to see if that works. See if we can get folks to show up. See if that works for most folks. We're going to do the 6:30. We're just going to try it on that Friday. Hey, Scooter Bro. Hey, thank you for the sub. All right. And it'll go shorter. It'll be shorter. So it won't be a long class. Probably about like an hour is what we're going to try out the first time. And if folks like it, we'll push the timing. But yeah, we're going to do an hour. Yeah. Just we need to get like one more day a week into our streams so that way we can hit partner. And the reason why we want to hit partner is just because still folks don't have quality settings all the time. And once we have partner, that's guaranteed. And kind of like the only thing that's holding us back from partner is going to be the extra day a week. Yeah. And then once we figure out the time that works, those will turn into office hours. So we're going to experiment with the time just to see what most folks can show up for. We do need 70 plus people to show up for every stream if we're trying to unlock that partner. And so we're going to try the Friday. I'm going to probably try a Monday just to see what can get the most people to be here. And then we'll figure that out. And then we're going to also eventually morph that into office hours. So we'll have the touring office hours, we'll have the Hopper office hours, and then we'll have our kind of like regular Saturday everyone office hours. So we're going to be adding kind of one more week for stream for the next couple of weeks to find the right date. And then once that date kind of makes the most sense, most people are able to show up, that'll be the time that we kind of do that extra day going forward. So we're going to try a few different days, see what works, and then we'll pick one. No. Ooh. Shadi, thank you for the hydration. Cheers to you. Ooh. Alrighty. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Remember, we're turning it up. You had a little bit of extra homework this weekend. It was a little spicy. Hopefully it wasn't too spicy. We're going to kind of see that kind of progression. We're learning objects today, which is kind of the last of the big topics in JavaScript. We're, of course, going to have other things that round out our knowledge, but the big things are done. We've already know how to do variables, conditionals, loops, functions, arrays. Tonight, we're going to add objects. Those are the big things. Now, the next 10 weeks are really kind of building stuff with those ideas and moving into full stack. And so we're going to keep that pressure going up just a little bit in terms of the homework. We're going to keep seeing it rise. A little bit more expectations in class. We're going to see that rise. As always, health first. Cool. Trofasaro. A lot of folks A lot of folks finally made it. A lot of folks made it this weekend. A lot of folks are successfully at the bottom. Congratulations. Quite a few folks made it to the bottom. All right. A couple folks got there. I got a lot of messages over the weekend. A lot of folks kind of the cardio hit hard. The arrays have been hitting hard. That's okay. We knew this was coming. We knew that you would hit the trough, and now the real work begins. The not giving up, the digging deep, the getting help when you need help, the asking a lot of questions so you can get the support that you need. We're there. For quite a few folks, we're there. All right. Few folks, they're still like right here. Few folks are kind of like they're looking down. They can see it, right? They can see it. They see the bottom. It's flattening out. They're like waving to everyone that's down there. They're almost there. All right. Now tonight is going to be a little bit difficult. The arrays are a little bit difficult. The objects are a little bit difficult. Different mental models than we're used to using in real life. Things that we don't think about that we kind of have to think about, right? So tonight's going to be a little bit challenging, introducing some new concepts, things that you should have read over the weekend for the reading, just to make sure it wasn't your first time. We're going to reinforce those things tonight and tomorrow, and we're going to keep pushing, right? This is where it starts to get fun, right? Once you have all of these building blocks, right? Once you have all of these little pieces that you can put together, you start to be able to build some really cool stuff. So I'm really excited for the next couple of weeks together where you can start building like real stuff, not like little things that we're cobbling together, things that you'd be proud to have in your portfolio, things that you'll look at and be like, holy crap, I was able to build that, right? And so that's what we're getting to. We got to get through this last tough topic, which is objects. And once we get through that last tough topic, we kind of have all the Play-Doh to start building cool stuff. So I know the Trough of Sorrow, when you get there, is hard. It's difficult. Hang on. If you need help, let's ask for help in the Discord during office hours, right? And let's keep pushing. All right. You also got to start flexing those research muscles, right? Those research muscles got to keep getting flexed. This weekend, I gave you some homework that had things we had never talked about, things we had hinted a little bit about in arrays. That's going to kind of keeping the pattern, right? You're going to keep getting stuff that, Leon, you haven't really talked too much about that. That's okay. You're gonna try it on your own. You're gonna push through the suck, right? And you're gonna ask tons of questions during office hours. We're gonna have more office hours for you to ask questions. You're gonna ask questions on Discord. You're gonna be a question asking, researching machine, right? And so that's what you got to get into. You got to get into this groove of, all right, never saw this before. How do I deal with it? Okay. The MDN is going to be my homepage on Firefox. I love it. Do you guys think doing extra JS30 is the best use of extra time? Could be good thing to do. I like the JS30. I like the front end mentor. I like kind of starting with Code Wars, which we're going to start this week. This week, part of your homework is to start with some Code Wars, which we'll explain at the end. But yeah. Some days I just want to cry. Been there. Every developer gets there. Some days things really don't make sense. You're not able to figure it out. You're not able to get the help that you need to just really kind of unlock the understanding. And that's the rough part of learning to code. And the folks that can embrace that and trust in themselves to eventually figure it out are the ones that are successful. And so trust in yourself. You've gotten this far. Like, holy smokes. If you've been here since the start of program, think about all the stuff that you could do. Think about when like HTML elements were hard, right? Like when you were like, Leon, what's this separation of concerns thing, right? Think about all the things that you've been able to learn. Think about all the HTML, all the CSS, your layouts, the things that you were able to do. Think about when variables were weird, but now you're a variable machine. Think about when conditionals were mind-bogglingly like weird, right? Think about when functions, you didn't know what they really did or how to use them. Think about click events the first time you heard them, right? All these things that you now know how to do in really just 10 weeks. in just 10 weeks. Give yourself some praise for that. Give yourself some applause for that. That's huge. You got through all of that. You'll get through all the rest. You got through all of that. Those weird nights, those Googling sessions, those asking for help, the things not making sense, not making sense, not making sense. You got through that. You got through that. And you're going to keep getting through it. Right? Now, this research thing becomes really important. Because as much as we love Anki, as much as we're committing stuff to memory and the basics are there, there's going to be a lot of stuff that you're going to be looking up on a regular basis. A lot of things that it's just too big of a world, too many topics. And this research is what's going to be able to save you from that. The idea that like every little detail is not going to be stuck in your brain, that you're going to have to look something up. I was talking to somebody on Monday, yesterday during my like one-on-one times. I think we're booked out for this month for the one-on-ones, but I'll be opening up more probably next week. I was talking to somebody and we were talking about this idea of like looking stuff up when you don't know it. And I told them, I was like, look, I had to do a switch case the other day, like a JavaScript switch case, like the conditional thing. I was like, I looked it up. I was like, I couldn't remember like this one thing about it. I wanted to double check and boom, quickly looked it up. Oh, that's right. And then went down. So you kind of transition into this world where you need to know the fundamentals. You need to know the basics. You need to know how everything combines. But we're also entering into this stage where it might be a little too much. And you need to know that things exist and know how to get that help that you need through Googling, through Discord. And as some folks are saying here in chat, there's no shame in Googling or looking these things up. Super important, right? And so it's a skill. And it's a skill that a lot of folks aren't honestly really great at when they first start. Like some folks, Google Foo is not that great. And that's okay. We're going to build that muscle so that by the end of program, whenever you get tasked with something, you're going to have you're going to be a lean, mean researching machine. And so lean into this idea that if you don't know something, if something that is really challenging, if something doesn't make sense, that you're going to lean into researching how to solve it. And you're going to give it a good shake, right? And you're going to give it a good shake before you even ask for help on Discord, right? So that's what we're committing to. We're committing to really trying to turn into these lean, mean researching machines. Cool. DuckDuckGo Foo. Exactly. I don't even use Google, so I should say DuckDuckGo Foo. All right. The answers are out there. The challenging thing is finding it. Exactly. So we got to practice it. Bugaboo with the 5 months. Hey, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate that. Really do. And we got a hydration. All right. Dragonoid, thank you for the hydration. Cheers to you. Gonna leave that open. What if you find stuff and the search results still don't make sense? Find better results. So early on, when we're dealing with like arrays and objects and kind of like the beginner or the foundations of a language, there's always going to be a better resource, right? There's always going to be a video or a book or a blog post that explains something better. Jackie, hey, thank you for the 4 months. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And so part of my research, like when I'm looking these things up, is like it's like a spidey sense. It really is like a spidey sense. I'll open up a blog post. I'll read like the first sentence and be like, no, this person's not going to be able to help me. Like I'll literally read like the first few sentences and I'm like, nope, not going to answer my question. And I just move on to the next thing. I'm very quick to drop some of my resources that don't make sense. And the more you do this, I know it's really rough in the beginning, but the more you do this, right? The more you do this, the more you start to develop these senses. The more you start to develop this like idea of what's going to work or not work. The more you start to test the things that you find, like it just starts to snowball, and it becomes like this superpower that you have, right? Like people like ask me for stuff that I have no idea. Like I've never even heard of what they're asking. Like it could be like, how do you identify these type of birds. I don't know how to identify those type of birds, but I guarantee you give me 3 minutes, I can figure out how to do it. Right? That's what you want to become, like these lean, mean researching machines. And so you got to lean into that idea of, developing that research muscle. Because the more you do it, the more you say, it's okay that I don't know this. It's okay that I don't understand it, but I want to grow in a skill set that enables me to find out any question that I have. Now, since programming is hard, it's not always going to work, right? Out the gate, it's not always going to work. And that's why you have a community, right? That's why you have 100 devs. That's why we have our Discord. You can say, hey, I am really struggling with this topic. Anybody have a resource that made it click? That's a beautiful thing to do. It's a beautiful way to kind of find what might work for you, right? Hey, does anybody have a few minutes to jump in voice and explain this thing, right? That's a beautiful place to be, because sometimes the research isn't enough, especially early on, until you get really good at it. And so don't be afraid to ask for help still when you need it. All right. Dak, what you know about bird law? Well, quite a bit. I see some folks asking about being new. You can do 100 devs, exclamation point 100 devs in our chat. It'll tell you everything you need to know to join. All right. Agree to the rules in our Discord community, exclamation point Discord, and you'll find everything you need today on that Discord. You can do exclamation point Discord to get to Discord, agree to the rules. Then there's a follow-on materials that will have the slides and all the starter code that you'll need for today. Jimmy, I'm so thankful for Discord community. Me too. It's been great to see it grow. Exactly, Maya. It would be slow at first, but you're building that muscle to become more efficient. When my husband is trying to teach me some stuff, sometimes we just bust out laughing because my answers are absolutely wrong. I can't tell you how many times I've done something that's completely the wrong direction, and you get better at it. You start to realize it makes more sense. Chris, I did not see your question about networking. All right. Alrighty, folks, let's keep going. Alrighty, let's jump into our review. If you're new, we're going to go through this pretty fast. So if you're interested in kind of learning about the stuff that we're going to cover in this review, we always have our previous classes on YouTube, exclamation point YouTube. You can go back and look at our first JavaScript class that goes through this stuff in a lot more detail, and it takes our time. But we're getting our spaced repetition in. We're going to go fast through this review. And so hang on, folks. I know you told me to take some time off, but I'm wondering if you can clarify what a connection is over a coffee chat. A connection is just somebody that you've met, maybe at like a networking event or a conference or something like that. A coffee chat's like when you sit down and have a longer conversation with somebody. Typically, a coffee chat is planned. Like on Tuesday, we're going to sit down at lunch and have a conversation. Shadi, thank you so much for the hydration. Will, man, I really vibe with the keyboard cat lately. Alrighty, let's power through this real quick. All right, computer will do what you tell it to do. A program is simply a set of instructions that you write to tell a computer what to do. And if a program is a set of instructions that you write to tell a computer what to do, well, programming is simply the act of writing those instructions. We're writing JavaScript, which is a language that makes sense for us as humans. We can read it, we can understand it, right? And it can be eventually broken down into something that the computer can actually understand as well. I was just struggling with everything turning into a coffee chat. That's okay. If it turns into a coffee chat, that still counts as a connection. Coffee chats are the same thing, still count. All right. Remember, JavaScript has a specific syntax, the spelling, the grammar rules, the punctuation that makes up that language. Some of the big things we have to learn are variables, conditionals, functions, loops, arrays, and today objects. Variables are a way of creating something that we can use later on, a way of storing something into memory. There are two steps when you're using variables. You can declare something when you create something in memory. So this is our memory. We've created a space called age inside of our memory, and then we could assign that space a value. And so we put 25 in that space in memory. Anytime I ask for age, I'll get 25 back. And we can do this declaration and assignment on the same line. Cool. Conditional syntax. What do we want to check something? We want to see something is true, less than, or greater than. If we want to compare things, we can do that with our conditionals. What a conditional will do is it'll look for the things that are inside of these parentheses. If what's inside of the parentheses is true, it does what's inside the curly braces and then it stops. However, you can have not only an if, but an else if. And an else if will run if the if above it was false. So if what turns out to be false here, the else if will run and we'll check this condition. You can have as many else ifs as you want. You can have if, else if, else if, else if, else if. Brick, hey, thank you for the sub. Thank you for spending Jeff Bezos' money with us this evening. Glad you're here. All right. So we have these conditionals, ifs, else ifs, and then we can also have an else, right? An else will automatically run if everything above it was false. So if the if was false, the else if was false, the else will automatically run, and it does not check a condition. It just runs. All right. Now, be careful. Danger versus assignment versus comparison. Chat. What's the danger with assignment versus comparison? I know we've done this one a lot. This is like this thing I just need stuck in your brain. This is like one of those things I just need spaced repetition to just leave an everlasting mark, because it's something that people run into all the time as an error. Yeah. If you use one equal sign, you are reassigning inside of your conditional. That will evaluate to true. Remember, I asked you to look up truthy and falsy, right? And so we got to be careful. Whenever we're doing comparison, we're doing 2 equal signs for value or 3 equal signs for value and type. Like, is it a string? Is it a number? Is it a Boolean? Cool. We can have multiple conditions. And so here we have the double ampersand, which is and. Both conditions must be true for us to do what's inside the curly braces. My name is Leon. Welcome. Status is ballin'. So you get a wink. If you enjoyed that wink and you want more winks, you can subscribe to my OnlyFans. There's only one way to get access to my OnlyFans, and that's channel points. So if you're here, you're accruing those channel points, and you too could be the proud owner of my private OnlyFans one day. Alrighty. Reptar, is today your birthday? I thought somebody said that. Is today's Reptar's birthday? Thursday. All right, cool. All right, I got you. Alrighty. We can also do or, right? We can also do or, right? So if Saturday or day equals Sunday, Coordinate, hey, thank you for the gifted sub. I appreciate that. So as long as one of these is true, then we know it's the weekend, right? So you can have and where both have to be true, or you can have or where it's one or the other. And remember, you can chain these ors and you can chain these ands as well. It doesn't just have to be 2 conditions. All right. Functions. We're powering through this, folks. Functions. Functions are simple sets of instructions. They should be reusable. When we get the best practices, they typically do one thing. And they are the basic building blocks of our program. It's how we're going to get our program to do stuff, right? Functions have a function declaration where it has a keyword, a name, and they can take in parameters. Parameters are like variables that only exist inside the function body. And when you want a function to run, you must call it. And when you call a function, you pass in arguments. Those arguments fall into the parameters, and you're able to use those things that you pass in inside the function. All right. Here's an example of a function. You can see I've called my function yell, and I passed in hello as a string. So now wherever I see word inside of this function, it's actually the string hello. Hello. All right. Loops. Power hour, folks. Loops enable us to repeat an action some number of times. In JavaScript, there are 3 kinds of loops. Well, main types of loops: for, while, and do while. And now we see with arrays, we get some extra types of loops. We saw recently for each. We saw map over the weekend, right? So there exist the main ones, but there are also these other ones, especially when we start to learn these other data structures. All right. The main kind of loop that we saw is the for loop. You set your condition in terms of set your increment. So what's going to go up? What are you using to keep count? You're going to have an end condition, and then what happens to that counter each time it runs. So in this case, we start with the I equaling 1. Every single time the for loop runs, I is going to go up by 1, and we'll stop when I is no longer less than 5. So in this case, we would stop when I equals 5, because 5 is not less than 5. Our loop would stop. Whew. Hello, I don't think we've actually done a do while in class. Maybe we can do that as a catch up, or maybe during office hours would be fun. Alrighty, we also saw while loops before. While loops are slightly different. Great for when you don't know your end condition, right? One thing you have to be really careful about with while loops is, folks, what is the thing you have to be really careful about with while loops? Count the shells, 12. Thank you for the hydration. Cheers to you. Oh, Jackie got it off the rip. Yeah, it's infinite. You gotta be careful about these infinite loops, right? You forget to set your counter. Your counter doesn't ever meet that end condition that you have in the check. You can wind up with an infinite loop, and eventually your computer might eat it. All right. Whoo, y'all. You remember when that stuff was like super hard? Remember when that stuff was like you were sweating the variables? You remember that? You remember like. I remember people just being dismayed in chat when we first learned about variables, right? Look at you now. Look at you go. All right. So we got some review tonight. So tonight, the first review is Mighty Morphin, one of the other classic television shows. It's The Bachelor, and then right underneath is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Mighty Morphin was probably my second favorite. Yeah, so it's Morphin, right? Then we had, after Morphin, Alien Rangers. After Alien Rangers, we had Neo. After Neo, we had, was it Turbo? And then after Turbo was Space. Then Lost Galaxy. After Lost Galaxy, it was Lightspeed Rescue. Then Wild Force. Then Dino Force. No, I'm missing one of them. It's Time Force, and then Wild Force, and then we had, what were the other ones? Ninja Storm, Dino something. There was a lot of them. There's been a lot of freaking Power Rangers, folks. Sorry, I was Home Alone 2, weird flex, but okay. Oh, there you go. And then it was SPD, and then the other one started. Yeah, that's kind of where I stopped. SPD is kind of like, I'm a little too old, I think, but I've been watching them recently. They've held up. Now, if you're a real one, it wasn't just always Power Rangers. It was Beetleborgs. If you had that UPN back in the day, it was Beetleborgs. All right. I got my kid a Nintendo Switch. Are there any good Pokemon games? If they're young, Let's Go can be a lot of fun. And then, of course, the new one is Sword and Shield. Yeah. All right. So we have Mighty Morphin review. It's the code. If you need the code to do this review to follow along with us, !point Discord and chat, agree to the rules, and then go ahead and open up that zip file, and you will have the code that we're going to use here. So Mighty Morphin, there's a lot of JavaScript here for you to do. We're going to put quite a bit of time on the clock here today. I think we're going to do a full 10 here, because there's a lot of stuff that you have to review. We're going to do a full 10 minutes here. And I think that's a little bit longer than we've normally done. So here's a full 10. Crack open the code, get into it. I'm going to put some music on for you. If you have questions, come back here and ask. But yeah, there's a lot of little things you gotta look up for this one. So some methods you might not have used before. And so let's get into it. 9 minutes on the clock. If you have questions, you need to come back here. Can we get a Bionicle themed review code? I'm down. Bionicles were hip. I'm hip. They were dope. Street Sharks were cool. There's like this really old Vin Diesel promo for Street Sharks that's hilarious. It's just him like looking jacked playing with Street Sharks. Oh, Miriam, sorry to hear that. Glad you're here though. What's my most disliked feature in JavaScript? I feel like a little bit of like Stockholm syndrome or something like that. Like I think I've come around to find beauty in a lot of the oddness. Like I don't know if you've ever seen that talk, the What Talk. That like really opened my eyes about JavaScript, and I thought that was really fun talk. That it can be really weird. I think my least favorite, the truthy and falsy stuff can get a little weird for me. I think that causes a lot of confusion. And then I think the most disliked is just lack of types, right? I think just lack of like strong typing, and I think TypeScript kind of solved that for a lot of folks. But I think that's the only thing that really gets my goat. I've kind of come through the roughness with everything. Oh, that's a good one too. Damn these functions. No. There's the SpongeBob meme with the Nan one as well. That's pretty funny. I'm not saying anything important, folks. I'm just, if you have questions, you can come ask questions. I'm just answering fun questions while folks are working. But you can tune me out. Never like prototypal inheritance. Yeah. Now, if you're a triple OG real one, of course we talked about Power Rangers, talked about Beetleborgs, but if you triple OG, a real one, like a real one, Mummy's Alive. Mummy's Alive. I don't think anybody heard of that one before, but that was my jam. Favorite Power Ranger? OG Black Ranger. Come on. Beast Wars. I was too scared. Gargoyles. Gargoyles was amazing. That's such a good show. Is that on Disney Plus? If it's on Disney Plus, I might be tempted onto the dark side. What is the worst story you've heard from a boot camp? I know somebody that's paid. Well, I don't like know them, but I know like I've met them that paid $100,000 for a boot camp. Like no cap, over like 6 figures. Like what? Because they took an ISA plus like a living stipend, and so yeah, it's gonna be 6 figures by the time they're done. Yeah. Yeah, the story is not good, and the worst part is they don't have a job yet, hopefully. Goosebumps was hardcore. It was definitely one of the big ones. Definitely one of the big ones. Animorphs were my, like, you remember, like, I don't know if you remember, like, in middle school, we used to have like these book fairs that would come around, and like these like paper sheets that would come out ahead of time where you could see like all the stuff that would come in the book fair. And I would just remember, like, I had to be like extra good for like a month, and I had like a whole system about how I was gonna get an Animorphs book. I was like on my best behavior, like a month or two out, I would drop a hint hey Ma, do you know that there's a book fair? A book fair coming to the school. And then I would tell my grandma, hey grandma, there's this thing called a book fair. Have you heard of these before? A book fair. And then like I would chill. I wouldn't, I was play it cool. I wouldn't play it cool. I just let them know it's happening. Cause my mom had to save money. she had to put some money aside. So I would drop it a month or two out. Like, hey, cool. Like it's coming. And then like 2 weeks out, I'd be like, hey, so this you remember we talked about that book fair thing? They have these books called, and like they have these really good books, Ma. They just have these good books. And then a week out, I would pick like the day that I knew things were going good, like payday or like a good day, and I'd be like, look, Ma, so they have this Animorphs book. It's the next in the series, right? It's the next in the series, and if I was lucky, I got the book. And so that was my book fair experience. But I played it cool. Did you ever get the NFL Monday Night Football Club books? No. I never heard of that before. That's wild. I would legit go to a book fair as an adult. I wish that was like a thing. I love bookstores though. Bookstores are like my happy places. The Guinness World Records books are always the dope ones. They were always mad expensive though. Ooh, done already, blah. Nice. Got 2 minutes, 40 seconds left. Ooh, Strand is dope. Have you heard of the new Ninja Turtle comic where they're all dead except for Mikey? What? What? Do you know the name, Tony? That's wild. The Last Ronin. All right, I'll look that up. I haven't read Old Man Logan. It's kind of like on like I really don't do like cape and panty comic books or anything like that. I like kind of like I don't know. I like different kinds of stories for my comic books. Fables is one of my favorite runs of all time. Yo, done. Nice. All right, folks, you got about 1:30. Dig deep, come to the finish line. You got this. Yeah, Fables is pretty dope. Miriam, done. Love it. K. Murray, done. All right. Catch the Giorno. What? In this chat? My random function isn't working. It's all right. We'll figure it out together. Of course, Ghost. Classic. Classic. You love this idea, Tom? Hey, glad you're here. Glad you stopped by. What? Tom, thank you for the sub. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. Oh, we got some comic book nerds in the chat. That's cool. I didn't know that. All right, folks. 15 minutes. Finish strong. 15 seconds. Finish strong. You got this. We're gonna go over it together. You beat me, Leon. I was into bad comic books as a kid. What are bad comic books? What do you mean by that? Rockefeller says, I keep trying to solve these with a minimal amount of code. Is that okay? Absolutely. Do we need a few more minutes? Is that what we're saying? Alyssa, you feel like a few more minutes? Should we do Do folks still need a few more minutes? This was a heavy one. This was a heavy one. Need a couple? All right, let's put 3 on the clock. 3 on the clock. 3 on the clock. I know this was a heavy one, so we'll put 3 more. If you finish, you can join the conversation about comic books. I'm trying to solve them with the maximum amount of code. Superman ends Earth. Okay. Got a lot of new folks that are stopping by. Tom K. Winks. Hey, Tom Cass, thank you for the sub. I appreciate you being here. Tugboat. The Saga of Blitz. Sup, Twitch. Porch Logic. Tansiv. Estrado. Welcome, y'all. Glad you're here. Glad you stopped by. What? My husband got special permission to go into office today to save his Galactus figure from construction. That's how I got Bob. That's how me and Bob go back. Not quite construction, but something similar. I think I've shared this story once on channel before. I think that was a community goal actually back in the day. Oh, Yash with the Dunzo. Let's go. Kingdom Come is great. All right. If you are verbose in your coding, does your code take longer to run? Technically, every character you add can increase the time that it takes to download the file, and therefore it takes longer for your users. But if you're talking about like a line or two, not a huge impact, but if over time it snowballs and adds up. So yeah, short, concise can be a win. But you don't want to, it comes time for best practices and you want to balance like maintainable, cleanly written code versus number of lines. And so as long as you're keeping your code dry, meaning that you're not repeating yourself, you're probably in a good spot for where you're at right now. Yeah, and then on the other end, we get into things like indifferent is saying, we get into things about Big O, and we'll get to all of that. Having trouble with the last two? It's all right, we're gonna go over them. 30 seconds, folks. 30 seconds. Yeah, Eloquent.js did have a nice section on that. That's a good thing to bring up. Don't optimize too soon. How does that go? Yeah, I think right now we're still in learning mode, right? There will always be plenty of time for best practices. There'll always be time for these little things that are going to make us better software engineers. We're still, as we like to say, in that vomit stage, right? We're just getting stuff to work, right? We just want it to do and make it happen. All right. Let's go ahead and go over these together. Once we're done going over these together, we will take a much-deserved break. Let's go into it. Declare a variable. Reassign it to your favorite holiday. Make sure it's in all caps. Chat, what was the trick to making sure that it was in all caps? What was the trick there? See what you need. I see it. General Knox, exactly. So we're going to say let favorite holiday equal. And we're just going to say Halloween. Cool. Make sure it's in all caps. So we can say to upper case. Right? And, or we could do this, right? We could do, we can just reassign it. So we can say fav holiday equals fav holiday. And then we can do to upper case just to make sure that it's a little bit more readable there. And then what we want to do is, I'm going to chill the music here for a second. A little too loud. All right. And then let's go ahead and print the value to the console. So we'll do our lovely console log and we'll paste in favorite holiday. Cool. Let's save this and make sure everything's running well. I'm going to open it in the browser. Yes. Hold on. I got to see if I can do all of them. And then, there we go. Cool. Got all my poses in real quick. There we go. That's actually some good stretching right there. You gotta hit all those different poses. At the top of the hour, we just do our Power Ranger poses. First try. All right, there we go. Nice. Halloween in all caps. Got the poses in. Doing good. All right, let's go to the next one. Declare a variable. Assign it to a string. Alert the last 3 characters in the string. What was the trick that you used to get the last 3 characters, chat? What did you use to get those last 3 characters? Ooh, Booty Licker did the way that I did it. Yeah, Booty Licker, we did it the same way. I love that. For bingo, I love Booty Licker's name. There you go. If you're playing bingo and that was there, that was for you. All right. So declare a variable, assign it a string. All right. So we're going to say best pizza equals Domino's. Cool. And then what we want to do is we want to alert the last 3 characters. So we're going to head and do an alert. And we're going to do best pizza. And we're going to do dot slice. And we're going to do -3. Let's go ahead and save this. Let's make sure it works. Let's go ahead and refresh. We got the NOS, the last 3 characters of Domino's. And it's a little tough to see, but it says NOS. And of course, our Halloween's still there. So, slice is a method built into JavaScript that can slice apart your strings here. And so there's something really cool that if you do a negative number, it starts counting back from the last letter. So -3 means go in 3 letters and grab just those. All right. And so best pizza, grab yourself a slice of Domino's. Hashtag not an ad. Hashtag wish it was an ad. Please sponsor me, Domino's. All right. Alyssa clipped the power poses. Can you do the same with words instead of characters? Yes. You can also like split words. Like, you can split sentences too. So there's a lot of fun stuff you can do. Once you learn the methods, there's some fun stuff you can do. So slice was the one I used. Are there other ways to do this? Absolutely. Substring is another thing you might have come across. All valid ways of going through it. You could have split it into an array and used array notation to grab the last 3. Right? A lot of fun things that we could have done there. Exactly. If it works, it works. Exactly goes. All right. Create a function that takes in 5 numbers. Subtract all 5 numbers from 100. Alert the absolute value of the difference. Call the function. Cool. So chat, what's the trick for absolute value? What's the trick for absolute value? Yeah, math.abs. All right, so let's go ahead and create a function. Call it sub 5 and check. Cool. We know we're going to take in 5 numbers. So let's do n1, n2, n3, n4, and 5. Just as parameters that we know the numbers are going to be passed in as. We're going to say, let's say, let difference equal, and we're going to say 100 minus n1 minus n2 minus n3 minus n4 minus n5. So that'll be the difference. And then we want to alert the absolute value. So we're going to do an alert, and we're going to do math.abs, and we're going to pass in difference. Cool. Just going to put a little space here just so it's a little clearer for y'all to see. There we go. And then the last thing we got to do is call the function. Cool. So let's go ahead and call the function. Sub 5 and check. And let's pass in, we have to be less than 100 to get a negative number. Let's just do some wild stuff here. Cool. All right, there we go. So let's go ahead and save this, and then we're going to go ahead and run it. So we got our first one, the slice of Domino's. We got 74, and notice that it's not a negative number. It's the absolute value. So we got 74. Cool. Ooh, 700 days. I like that. That's pretty cool. The idea of like adding these and then just subtracting them from 100 for readability. That's cool. Some folks getting some first tries today. I'll take that. There we go. All right. Some other stuff we could do here, but this is a pretty readable one for folks. All right, create a function that takes in 3 numbers. Console log the lowest and the highest values. Console log the lowest and the highest values. How'd y'all do this? What was the trick that you did here? There we go. Math.max, math.min. Let's go ahead and try this. So let's go ahead and create a function. I'm going to call the function lowest and highest num. We know it's going to take in 3 numbers, n1, n2, and 3. Saw somebody did something really clever. Yash, I really like how you did that. Let's try that, Yash. I think that was a pretty cool way of doing it. And so what they did is we take in the lowest and highest, and so we're going to do a console log. And so let's go ahead and do our console log. And we're going to put, instead of a regular string, we're going to put some ticks in here so that we can do our template literals. And so let's go ahead and say the highest is, and then we can do math.max, or should we do lowest first? Let's say the lowest is math. Gotta put in my question mark here. Put in my question mark. And then we're going to say math.min. And we're going to pass in num1, num2, and num3. We're going to say the lowest is blank. And the highest is, and we could say, oops, sorry. Let me close this here. Forgot to put it outside of the curly braces. And the highest is, and we're going to do another template literal here, or template string here. And we'll do math.max, and we'll pass in our n1, our n2, and our n3. Cool. You have 2 hairless cats? That's dope. Cool. All right, let's save this up. Let's go ahead and call it. Why are they autocomplete? Lowest and highest num, and we're going to go ahead and pass in, let's pass in 79, 22, 100. Cool. Let's go ahead and save this. Let's go back to our browser. Let's refresh. We got our alerts that are popping up, and there we go. The lowest if 22, and the highest is 100. I'm gonna say first trip. I'm not gonna add the y because it says if and not is. So I'm gonna say first trip. There we go. Cool. And I'm gonna change this to is. Yeah, that was a cool idea. I'm glad you shared that in chat. When I was in uni, one of my roommates had a hairless cat named Gizmo. It was really cool, but kind of greasy. Are your cats greasy? Like, is that a thing? I don't know if that makes sense. All right. Conditional. My cat is named Kit Harrington. Kinda, yeah. All right, cool. As long as I'm not... See, I'm not the weirdo, chat. I'm not the weirdo. Indifferent Ghost, his cat is kinda greasy. It was a thing, all right? It's not me. It's not me. All right, we got to do these last 2, and then we're going to take a well-deserved break. All right. Create a function that returns head or tails randomly as fairly as possible, because there are some things about, like, fairness here, and call the function. So let's go ahead and create a function called heads or tails. Cool. And what are we going to use here, chat? How are we going to get a random heads or tails? What did y'all use? cool. Did anybody use a ternary here? Anybody look that up? A ternary? Let's do a conditional, and then maybe we can talk about a ternary here. All right, let's do a conditional first. So let's do our math.random. So we're going to say let random equal, and then we'll do math.random. Good job, chat. Cool, math.random. And then we can just do a conditional. And we can say if random Nox, yeah. Thank you for the 3 most. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. If random is less than 0.5, right? If random is less than 0.5, we can return heads. Cool. All right, we can return heads. Else, we can return tails. I haven't played Sonic in a long time. Are any of the new Sonic games good? Anybody play any of the newer ones? Curious. I think there's one on the Switch now. All right. Mania is good. All right, cool. My kid is obsessed with the Sonic running game on the phone. I haven't played that either. All right, so I think we got like a heads or tails that's working. Let's go ahead and call it just to check. And we're going to have to log this. So let's go ahead and throw it in a console log just to make sure it's working. And I'm going to comment out all the rest of this stuff just because we don't want to keep seeing it pop up. Let's go ahead and save. Let's come back down. All right, let's go back to the browser. Check to see if this works. Cool. Got tails, heads, tails. So I had somebody I had someone in one of my classes at General Assembly that built this, like exactly this, and we got 10 in a row. And I thought their code was broken, but we just hit like a really like random streak. It was blew my mind. So here we go. Let's explain what's happening here. Math.random returns a number between 0 and 1. Right? So we know that math.random here is going to return a number between 0 and 1. So between 0.01 and like 0.99, or it might include 1, right? And so we have some number that's between 0 and 1. And since it's between 0 and 1, we can then use that to say, all right, well, if half the values, right? If it's half the values, right? So from 0.01 to 0.5, right? All right. It isn't inclusive. All right, cool. So if it's between 0.01 and 0.5, like half of the chances, we'll return heads. If it's anything above 0.5, so the other half of chances, we'll return tails. All right? And so the idea here is that you're going to do this math.random, and there's half a chance that it's below 0.5, and there's half a chance that it's above 0.5. And so that's how we're generating like this random 2 picks. Let's say you wanted to play rock, paper, scissors. Or if you want to play rock, paper, scissors. Chat, how would this change if you wanted to hint for the homework this weekend? Hint. How would you play rock, paper, scissors? What would you need to do? Yeah. You would check for anything less than 0.33, anything less than 0.66, and then anything else would be a third. So now you get 1 in 3 chances, right? And so if we're doing rock, paper, scissors, and we have to generate some random rock, paper, scissors, we could do it that way. Cool. Hint for the homework. Yeah. Alrighty. Now, there's some other ways we could have done this. There is a ternary way of doing this. So just to quickly show it. I'm just going to comment this real quick. And then we'll put it back. I just wanted to show this. So we can just return math.random less than 0.5. If that's true, return heads. else return tails. So this does the same thing. This one line does the same thing, right? This one line does the same thing. This is our check. We're going to see that the math.random is less than 0.5. If it's true, like if it is less than 0.5, we'll return heads. And if it's not less than 0.5, we'll return tails. So the ternary just kind of can make it a little bit simpler, a little sweeter, a little... There we go. So either way works. And we can save it just to check. We go ahead and refresh. Tails, heads, tails, heads, tails, heads, tails, heads, tails, 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 heads. So yeah, it's working. These are still so confusing for some reason. Yeah. The first couple times you see ternaries, it's pretty confusing. But think about this as like pull this out and imagine that is an if. Imagine it's an if. Math.random, making the nuns proud, less than 0.5, and then you have your curly braces. So imagine that that's the if, right? And then the only thing you're saying is if that's the if this is true, you do this side of the colon. And if it's false, you do this side of the colon. That's all. Exactly. Imran, thank you for the hydration. Cheers to you. All right. One last one. No one could read that in case you were wondering. Yeah, I kind of gave up on writing it halfway through when I noticed how bad it was. Leon says, I almost said it wrong too. Leon says pixels like Britta says bagels. All right. This stuff is finally starting to click. Heck yeah, let's go. I need that baby meme. He's like doing the yes. I love it. All right, so we know this is working. We can go ahead and save this. Oh, I deleted the call. Let me go ahead and get rid of the console log. Actually, I'm going to leave this here. I'm just going to comment it out. That way it's here for y'all in the future. All right. One last thing, and then we're going to take our break. I know we went way over. This was a lot of stuff to go through. One more, and we're going to go through it. All right. Can you do ternaries with multiple conditions? Yeah, you can kind of just chain your ternaries. It's not always the most readable thing, but it works. All right, create a function that takes in a number. Console log the result of heads or tails using the previous function x times, where x was the number passed into the function. Call the function. All right. We're going to call this function flip Adelphia. There we go. That's the name of our function here, flip Adelphia. And what we're going to do is we're going to pass in a number. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a for loop. And we're going to set up our condition here, like our counter. Let's set up I equals 1. And we're going to go while I is less than or equal to num. And every time we're going to add 1 to I. And all we're going to do is we are going to use our function up here, this heads or tails. So I'm going to create a variable called result equals, and I'm going to call that other function. I'm going to call heads or tails, all right? And then I'm going to console log result. Whoop. So let's make sure this works. I got to call the function, of course. Flip Adelphia, flip Adelphia, flip Adelphia. Let's do 5. All right, let's do 5. All right, let's save this. Splashly, hey, no worries. Glad you're here. Glad you had some fun. Hope you have a good night too. All right, let's go ahead and run our Flipadelphia. Cool. And so this one's here from the other function because we still have the console log there. But then we had 1, 2. Oh no, maybe we already commented out. So yeah, this is the 5. So 1, 2, 4, 5. First try. Is he do 1,000? No, I ain't trying to. Actually, I don't think 1,000 will do anything. Famous last words, right? Let's go. If I crash, we'll be back. I'll be back. All right, let's go ahead and refresh this, and then I'll go over it, and we'll take a break. Hey, that wasn't too bad. So you can see the results of all of our flips here. Oh, let's see what the largest series is. Sorry, so I'm looking on the left-hand side to see what the largest number in a row was. 5. Ooh, we got 9 in a row. What? That's wild. 9. Got another set of 9 too. So maybe that 10 is like not a big deal. Definitely saw 10 with my students project. But I guess with the students project, we were sitting there clicking it and not running it like this. What? A tenner. Look at that. A 10. What? That just seems so improbable to me. Another 10. Damn. But we were sitting there clicking it. We literally clicked it and got it in a row. Not like automatically like this. All right. Cool. So let's walk through how this works, and then we will take our deserved break. So we have a function called flip. We have a function called flip Philadelphia. You gotta say it right. You can't just say it. You just can't say it. You gotta like do the chant. Flip Philadelphia. Right. All right. So here's our function. It takes in a number. We have our for loop. The for loop is set up to run from 1 to the number that we passed in. Right. And every single time we run, we're gonna run it. Our counter goes up by 1 each time this function runs. And every single time this runs, we call our function from above. So this heads or tails function is this function up here. And so what happens is this function, let's say it returns heads. It returns heads. That return makes it all the way down to where I called the function. Right? So if it was heads, that heads gets returned all the way to where I called the function. So it's as though it's not this function call anymore. It's as though I had written heads in there. And then all I do is console log the result, which in this case is heads, right? So this is really cool. This is going to start adding some more oomph to our applications. The idea that we can call a function and start breaking our functions down into the single thing that they do well, and then calling them when we need them. Whew. Now we're cooking, folks. Now we're cooking. All right. We're going to take a break. It is way later than we normally would like to have gone, so I apologize for that. Let me go ahead and put 5 minutes on the timer here. If you are able, please get up, stretch, grab some water, hydrate, and we'll be back in 5 minutes, folks. I'm going to put the timer up here so you can see it. Grab some water, kiss your loved ones. Put some music on for you. BB Tone, thank you for the hydration. Cheers to you. First time I did 1,000 flips, I didn't get a single 10 in a row. The second time I got 4 times. Whoa. 14 tails, Omar. No way. That's wild. Posture check. All right. That kid Neptune. Nice. Sit up right. Do it recursively. Come to office hours. I'll do it recursively for you during office hours. I don't want to freak people out. Detour TV. Thank you for the prime. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Appreciate the love. Pi, your highest out of 1,000 was 7. All right. I'm going to do a quick stretch too. You know, it's not that kind of stream. If you want to see me stretching, that's OnlyFans content. Use your channel points. Don't let your dreams be dreams. Be right back. Whew, did you hear that, y'all? Damn. What are some predictions that we could do, Knox? I'm not even sure like what I could do with that. I've seen some other folks using it. It'd be cool to do it. Maybe I could like line up predictions based on like answers to stuff, like coding answers. Liquid Words. Hey, thank you for the gifted sub. How you been? Appreciate that. Thank you so much. What am I drinking? I'm drinking some nice water today. Crisp tap water. Chilled in the coolest of refrigerators overnight. Header tags shouldn't go inside sections. They should just introduce them. How does this check out for accessibility? Technically, the only other element that should really have headers or footers, to the best of my knowledge, is articles. Like articles can have their own header and footer because articles are meant to like be shared. Like they might leave the page, right? They might leave the page, and so therefore could have their own header and footers. Since the heads or tails function was created first, that's why we can reuse it. So phenomenon in JavaScript, we have something called hoisting. And so in JavaScript, all of our functions hoist to the top of scope. It's kind of like rubber duckies. It's like rubber duckies like in a bathtub. Think about each rubber ducky as a function. They're all kind of floating on the same level, so they can all like bump into each other and I was gonna say use each other, but that's weird. So they can kind of like bump into each other, right? Same thing's happening with our JavaScript functions. As long as they're function declarations like we have here, they all hoist to the top and can all be used by each other whenever you want. Yeah, I'm gonna be just some high quality water today. Ooh, pick someone to answer a coding question specifically and then bet on whether or not the person answers correct the first time. Whether or not they get a first try or not. That could be a fun Friday. That's a good Friday session right there. First try or not. That'd be really nerve-wracking for some folks, I think. We're just betting on everyone's failure. No. I got ahead of myself and already built a small rock, paper, scissors page? Hell yeah, let's go. I still want to see some drunk coding. So there's something called Bomber's Peak, which is where like developers get just drunk enough and their coding ability goes to the roof, but too much and it plummets. It's like a real thing. Bomber's Peak. So you can see the code from the conditional. Yeah, there you go. Alrighty, folks. Come on back. Come on back. Miriam, have a good night. Be well. See you on Discord. Alright, folks. Come on back. Come on back. Go for Mitch 130. Let's go. You got to remind me, Mitch. Next time remind me and I'll do it. Next time, like not like, because I feel like I don't know if you're gonna do it again. But next time I'm gonna see how many squats I can get done. If you remind me, I'll do it with you. I got an A+ on an assignment at uni. I was just drunk enough to write it. Let's go. 130K on the Peloton. Ugh. Omar, you really want to see these squats, huh? That's OnlyFans content for sure. For sure. All right, folks, welcome back. Let's jump back into this. Gonna chill the music here. Alrighty. Such good poses. All right. Let's keep going here. Arrays. Let's do a quick review of arrays. If you're new here and you want to learn in-depth arrays, we have a previous class, ! YouTube will teach you everything you know about arrays. But now we're going to do a quick run through them. We're going to do a quick practice, and then we're going to get the objects, which I'm excited for tonight. All right. Arrays we like to think about as toasters. One object that can hold multiple things, right? You can have a toaster that can have bagels, toaster strudel, bread, right? One object holding many things. Arrays are a data structure that can be used to store ordered collections. We say they're ordered collections because not only do you have elements in the array, but they are indexed. And that index starts counting at 0. That's the hard part. Tricks people up all the time. We don't start counting our arrays index by 1. We start counting by 0. And then what you saw over the weekend is that there are a lot of methods that help you manage the order of elements in the array or help you do really cool stuff with all the stuff stored in your array. They can be created by a constructor or literal notation. Tonight, we're going to see constructors and how we can start building objects with constructors, but it's the same syntax if you want to do an array too. Yash said, Leon, can you please stand up so we can see the whole package before redeeming our channel points for OnlyFans? No, that's part of the allure. That's part of the the enticing factor. I'm teasing, right? You gotta subscribe to get the whole deal. Otherwise, folks might, not dish out all the points for it. But trust me, it'll be worth it. I got you, fam. Alrighty. There are some interesting things that come in here. Some people are like, do this really, like, I'm not calling you out. I'm just saying, like, there's some people that come in like, oh, Leon, can you spin around and touch your head? And like, what? What is that? Why is that a thing? All right. But I gotta tease it, right? All right. Declaring arrays. Here's the constructor. We're gonna see how to do that later today. What we've been using is literal notation where we use our square brackets, right? We use our square brackets. They want to make sure you're real. Leon Limbo for us, please. I could just go like full like limbo for tips or something like that. Was like I got to get like the I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. I'm going to stop. I'm going to end that line of conversation. But it's the music. Alrighty. Declaring arrays. We can create an array using literal notation and put, oh, Izzy with the posture check. Thank you. I got my chair dialed all the way in. Like I'm sitting vertical today, folks. So it's dialed in fully tight and I'm just kind of like finding that good spot of support. So I appreciate the posture checks. All right. We've never seen his legs. How do we know? Alrighty. When we declare an array, we can put many different things in the array. We can put our strings, our numbers, our booleans. What? Indifferent. Thank you for the 9 gifted subs. 9 gifted. What? Thank you for the 9 gifted subs. What? Thank you so much. You're wild. You're wild. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. 100? Let's see. Hold on. Let's go. What? 100 gifted subs in the channel. You're a real one. Thank you so much. A third of the people that are here have the emotes because of you. Thank you so much. It's true. A third of the people here have their emotes. Can we get a micro Leon spam of emotes for Indifferent Ghosts just to say thank you? Like a third of you have them. If you have them from a different ghost, please spam them for us right now. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. That's a lot of money going to RC. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Look at that wall of spam. That's all you. That's you right there. That's wild. Thank you so much. Holy smokes. Cool. Alrighty. Thank you so much. So we can put many things into our array. Here we have a string, a boolean, and a number. Remember that our arrays are indexed. We start counting at 0. So here we have New York, LA, Sydney, London. If we wanted New York, we would use its index of 0. So the tricky thing here is that we say first element, but 0th index. Cool. We can use the square bracket notation not only to get values out of the array, right? So here we're using it to access. It's a getter, right? But we can also use the bracket notation to set. So here I'm saying new array 1 equals Bob. What that's going to do is it's going to put Bob into the array. And so if we console log the array again, we see that we have zebra, Bob, true, 21. So the square bracket notation is not only a getter where we can get values out of the array, it's a setter where we can put stuff into the array as well. All right. Now, something to keep in mind when you're dealing with arrays is that you can overwrite an entire array. So yes, you can overwrite a whole array by assigning an array to a different array. Be mindful here. So here we have cars and nums. We set cars equal to nums, and when we console log cars, it's actually the nums. That whole array is now gone, and it's set equal to the numbers. Alrighty. Array also have this length property where we can get the total number of elements that are in the array. So in this array, in the previous array, we had 4 elements in there. So when we did new array.length, we got 4. Told you how many number of things are in the array. Cool. I'm genuinely curious why there's a picture of exhibit. Because of the meme, yo dog, I heard you like pie in your pie, so I made it like that like meme. So I just said overwrite a whole array by assigning array to a different array. It's not the exact meme, but it sounded close enough. And I thought of exhibit, and then I was wondering about how exhibit's doing. Yeah, shout out to exhibit. Hope he's doing well. Alrighty. We can iterate through our arrays. Here's just a normal for loop that's iterating through our array. We're just grabbing a number. So we're starting our counter at 0. And then we're plugging 0 into the square brackets to give us green. And then I goes up by 1, we get blue. By another one, we get yellow. By another one, we get black. And so we're able to iterate through our array using a for loop and just our I variable here, right? There we go. We can also iterate through an array using for each, right? And so for each here is just a method built into JavaScript that is a loop, and the loop runs once for each element in the array. So here we have 4 elements in our array. We have green, blue, yellow, and black. And what this loop is going to do is it's going to run 4 times. Every single time that it runs, it's going to grab the element, which will be put into X, and it's going to grab the index, which is going to be put into I. So the first time this runs, we're console logging green. Did we use the index? No. Exactly, Simba. We did not use the index, right? But it still works. We're still going to get green, then blue, then yellow, then black, and so on. Cool. Yeah, you can do the possibility. You can do the double square brackets. Something we'll see a little bit later, but you can do that. Alrighty. We saw some methods the last arrays class. And with those methods, we saw that we can shift, which will pull stuff off the front of the array, right? So we shifted 6-9 off, and we're left with just polo G and 6-9. Then we learned about pop, where we pull something off the end of the array. So we popped off 6-9, and now our array just has polo G in it. So we have shift pulling it off the front, pop pulling it off the back. Then we learned about unshift, which can put dialon onto the front. Then we learned about push, which can push dialon onto the end. So now if we console logged our array, we have Dylon, Polo G, Dylon, right? Shift, pop, right? Unshift, push. Next we saw map, and all map did is return a new array. And so map is kind of similar to for each in the fact that it's going to run once for each element in the array, right? And so this is good, since this is going to run once for each element in the array, right? We're going to get a new array that has 3 elements in it, right? So since Best Wrappers 2020, right? Since Best Wrappers 2020 had 1, 2, 3 elements, we know that this map is going to run 3 times. But chat, what is the quirk? What is the quirk, chat, of a map? What does it do? What does map do? What's the quirk of map? What did you get from your reading? What does map do? What's the quirk of map? Is it editing that array? Yeah, it makes a new array. So this new array is going to run 3 times. And the only thing that it's going to return, remember this is an implicit return because it's an arrow function, right? The only thing that this map is going to do is going to return Dylon. So this is going to run 3 times. And best wrappers of all time would then be Dylon, Dylon, Dylon. Because the map's going to run 3 times. And every single time it runs, it's going to be Dylon. That's it. It's just returning Dylon. So the first time it ran, it created an array that had Dylon in it. Then map ran again, and it returned Dylon. Then map ran again, and it returned Dylon. Right? And then that was 3 times, and so the map stopped. The map stopped. The reason it ran 3 times is because there were 3 elements in Best Wrappers 2020. And so it's mapping through Best Wrappers 2020. If there had been 100 wrappers here, map would have ran 100 times. Cool. Now Best Wrappers of all time is holding Dylon, Dylon, Dylon. We can unshift or put on the front Dylon, and then we can push on the end and put on Dylon. And then if we were to console log the Best Wrappers of all time, we have Dylon, 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 and of course, Dylon. I ripped the rhyme. Rhyme and I rip. Already. Alrighty, let's keep pushing. We got some code to do. Alien Rangers review. That rhymed. That was fire. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and open up that code. If you're new here, we're running a 30-week software engineering bootcamp. If you want to follow along and code along, you want the slides, you can do exclamation point slides for the slides. But if you want the code that we're about to go through, exclamation point Discord, agree to the rules. And once you agree to the rules, there'll be a follow on materials channel that'll have the zip for today. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and close this one. We're going to open up Alien Rangers. All right. We got 3 questions in here. These questions are a little tough. We're going to put 5 minutes on the clock here. 5 minutes. And go ahead. Take a good old gander. Maybe Leon is the best rapper? Maybe. Alrighty. Go ahead. I'm going to put some music on for you. Just going to cut onions. Where's DOM API? I find the whole system kind of interesting. One of my favorite interview questions of all time. Actually, I'm going to ask you this question, so I'm not going to give you that question. My favorite question I can't answer because it's the question I'm going to ask you on Saturday. Community goal, Leon Spitz, the hot fire. Of course, that's a good community goal. That episode isn't even in the top 10 for me. I love the show and quote it way too much. Me too. I was hoping to cheat. Leon does the polka rap. Oh, I haven't done that in a minute. I'm pretty sure if I just listened to it like once or twice, I could do the whole thing, no problem. That'd be really funny to put like a 50K channel points. I just stop stream and do the polka rap. That'd be funny. Right? Alrighty, halfway through, folks. Halfway through our time. You got this. Keep going. Well, I've got another thing to save my points for. Indifferent. How many channel points do you have? I'm curious. Because the subs, I think, boost them, right? The last one is throwing you off. All right, we'll get there. You get 1.2 times. Cool. Really, only 3K? Interesting. Oh, Rossi, 55K? What? Dragonoid with the Dunzo. Well, we got a couple people hitting that 50K. I gotta start introducing like more enticing channel points because I'm afraid of folks getting to that. I'm not afraid of the OnlyFans, but we're gonna get close. Like by the end of program, yeah, we're gonna be close. Can we spirit bomb our points? Don't be scared. I have about 24K, but I don't know how to use them. Yeah, I'm going to introduce some more fun ones to entice people. Oh, that's right. Indifferent. I was curious. That's right. I forgot about that. Yep. That makes more sense now. Add a timer extension using the channel points. That's so good. That's such a good one. A timer extension for the channel points. That is such a good idea. Can I do that like right now? I'll put it on my list. That's definitely going on there. Hold on, I'm putting that on my list of things to do. Cool. Timer extension for channel points. That's such a good one. I love that. Add skip networking. That's a good one. That's a good one. Make sure you have a big cooldown on that one. Yeah, 1 per stream. Alrighty. Come on back, folks. Let's go over this together. Come on back. Come on back. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and take a look at these together. Mansa, thank you for the hydration. Cheers to you. I'm doing good on the water today, folks. Doing good. I'll bring up the stream here. This whole like healthy living thing, it's working. I'm digging it. Changing. Getting better. Alrighty. He's about to pee himself. Channel points that Leon tell you how great of a coder you are during the stream. That's free. You're a great coder. Alrighty. Create an array of TV shows, loop through and print each show to the console. All right, let's go ahead and do Power Rangers equals, and we'll do Mighty Morphin. We will do Alien Rangers, and we will do Zeo. I don't know why I keep saying Neo. Zeo, right? Zeo. Cool. So these are, of course, the first 3 runs of Power Rangers. And what we want to do is we're going to loop through and print each show to the console. So I'm going to go ahead and do it with for each this time. Power Rangers dot for each. And I'm going to keep it all in one line. No need to do anything. I actually don't like that the way that auto completed this. So I'm just going to say show. And we're just going to console log the show. Cool. That should work. Let's go ahead and save this. Let's go ahead and open this in the browser. Alrighty. And we're going to look at the console. We're going to inspect. Console. There we go. We got Mighty Morphin, Alien Rangers, and Zeo into the console there. I believe that is a first try. Wilson F. Baby. Trying to get that ban, huh? Don't you miss Domino's? Get out of here. Alrighty. You don't need the I in the for each. Nope. So the for each doesn't. The for each will always pop off a few things. It will always grab the element. It will always grab the index. It will pretty much, and it'll also grab the array. And I think there might be one other thing that I'm blanking on. But yeah, it grabs all those things every single time it runs. And so you don't need to use them, and you don't need the parameters for them. So the idea here is that this is an arrow function. And so the arrow functions are a slightly different syntax for our function expressions or our anonymous functions. And so we have the parameter of show here. And what this is going to do is for each is going to run 3 times because there are 3 elements. Whoa, hey, thank you for the 3 months of Prime. That's dope. Spending that Bezos bucks. Let's go. So we have 1, 2, 3 shows, right? We have 3 shows. And so this for each will run 3 times. And so what we're going to do is we're going to console log Mighty Morphin the first time, right? Because Mighty Morphin will go into show. And so show will get console logged. The next time this runs, Alien Rangers becomes show, and we'll console log Alien Rangers. And the last time this runs, Zeo will go into show, and then show will console log Zeo. Oh, thank you, indifferent. So it passes element, index, and reference to the array. Those are the first 3, but also a second argument that could be the binding of this. Ooh. All right. How would you do it with I included? You could do both. So I could do whatever I want here. Remember, these parameters could be anything. So I can call it chicken butt. There we go. So we have show and chicken butt. When you are doing an arrow function, and you have more than one parameter, though, you're going to want to use these parentheses. And now I'm going to do a template literal here, where I'm going to pass in show. Actually, I'm just going to console log both of them, show and chicken butt. Make it easier on yourself. There we go. So now, same thing, except this time we're going to grab Mighty Morphin for the show and the 0th index for chicken butt. The next time this runs, Alien Ranger will go into show, and 1 will go into chicken butt. And then the last time this runs, Zeo will go into show, and then 2 will go into chicken butt. All right. Yeah, you can put anything you want there. It doesn't have to be I, it doesn't have to be X, it can be anything you want. These are just parameters. Remember, parameters can have any names, zebra, it doesn't matter. Let's go ahead and save this and go back to the browser. And we're going to see similar thing that happened last time. Except now we also have the index console logging along with them. Cool. Yep, subtoast. You're just giving it something to call the value. All right. This stuff confuses me because I get too hung up on why this stuff is called the way it is. Yeah. Some of these things you just gotta kind of take as they come and be like, all right, that's the way somebody chose to write this a long time ago. The joke is, and it's kind of true, that JavaScript was written in like 10 days. So there's like a lot of quirks that like come from a language that was written in 10 days. Of course, JavaScript has matured. It's definitely something that has grown and it's been taken over, but people like to laugh and say, well, it was written in 10 days. It was originally going to be called Mocha, but they said, all right, what's popular right now? Java was really popular, and they called it JavaScript. It's kind of like one of those like development fairy tales. Alrighty. Create an array of numbers. Don't mind if I do. Let nums equal. All right, and we're going to do 2, 7, 118, and then we're going to do, I don't know, 18, and then we're going to do one more. Let's do one more. Let's do chat, pick a number. JavaScript is Mr. Right now. All right, so forget about it. Got 9 first. All right, there we go, 9. I love that. Oh, genius idea. A Twitch chat random number generator. That'd be a cool project. All right, that's something to put in the books for later. Cool. Create an array of numbers. We did that. Return a new array of numbers that includes every even number from the previous array. Cool. So let's go ahead and return a new array of numbers that includes every number from the previous array. Well, if we're going to return, we're going to need a function. So let's go ahead and create a function called only evens. And we're going to pass in an array. And we're going to return array.map. Or we could do filter even. Right? Chat, what did you do? What did you do? Did you filter? Did you use map? Did you do a for loop? What did you do? All right, let's try filter. All right. And we're going to say, we're going to pass in the value, right? Pass in the value, right? Where, actually, let's do, yeah. So we're going to pass in our value. Let's not call it X. Let's be real. Let's call it like the num, right? And then we're going to say where the num, and then we're going to just do our normal condition. So mod 2 equals 0. Yeah. I don't want to confuse people with the filter, but let's see this real quick, and then we'll go back. All right. So here we go. We have array filter. We're passing in the num, and if the num is greater than, if the num is divisible by 2, then that's the one we want. So let's go ahead and run this. So let's console log. Only evens. And let's pass in nums. And let's go ahead and run this. Let's just run it, make sure it works. There we go. First try. We got a 2, 118, and 18. But we didn't have 7 or 9, because 7 and 9 are not even. All right, so filter. Filter is one of those methods that you had over the weekend. One of those methods that you had to do some research on, right? And so what filter does is it literally helps you filter through your array. So in this case, what filter does is it takes in a function. So this is the function that filter is taking in. And what it does is it helps you filter out things, right? It helps you filter out things that meet that requirement. And so in this case, we're saying, all right, I only want the items that when divided by 2, 2 goes in evenly. So if this condition is true, it gets added to the array that then gets returned, right? So let's do this together. So I call the function, I pass in nums. Call the function, pass in nums. So I'm passing in this array. Now filter is going to run once for each element in the array, right? So since there's 5 elements in this array, filter is going to kind of like, you can think of it as like running like 5 times. Let's just think of it as like, thinking of it as running 5 times, right? Now, what's going to happen is we're going to look at this array and we're going to pass in 2. 2 is going to go into num. And then what we're going to wind up is 2 divided by 2. Is there any remainder? And there's no remainder. 2 goes into 2 evenly. So the remainder equals 0. And since this is true, 2 goes into the new array that we're creating. All right. Now the next time we run this, we're going to see 7. 7 is going to go into num. And wherever we see num, now it's going to be 7. Now does 2 go into 7 evenly? No. It does not go into evenly, right? So since it does not go into evenly, it does not get added to this new array that we're creating. All right, the next number, 118. 118 goes into num. Does 2 go into 118 evenly? Yes. So 118 gets added to our new array. Then 18 is the same thing. It's even, so it gets added. And then the last one is 9. 9 goes into num. 2 does not go into 9 evenly, so it doesn't get added to our new array. We are done. The filter is stopped. And since we have a return here, this new array is what's getting returned. Cool. Now, tell us these. You could have done that. It'd be a nice little way of evening it out here. Now, we can have an implicit return here too. We can have an implicit return here. That's what Telescope pointed out. So we could do something like this. Let's get. This is me on Code Wars. This is me flexing on Code Wars right now. This is how I flex. Look at me now, ma. Right? That also works. Somebody used their channel points? Let's see. Oh, I missed the highlight. Okay, let me see the highlight. Can you talk more about using nums in the array assignment, but then using num in the function body? Is this something JavaScript understands? I've also seen items, item, and it's always confused me technically, the singular not being declared correct. So yeah, so once you're, so each level has its own scope. Okay? Each level has its own scope. Inside of this function, num is something completely different than if we had a num out here, right? Nums is just what I've named my array because I'm going to have multiple numbers here. It's just a name I made up, right? However, when I'm doing my filter is grabbing one number at a time. So I called it num, right? It's grabbing one number at a time, so I called it num. This num and this nums have nothing to do with each other. It's the fact that this is going to be a bunch of numbers and this is going to be one number at a time that I use nums and num, right? I could call it something else. I could call it, I don't know, morphin time. There we go. Could call it morphin time, right? Same thing. Doesn't need to be nums. It's just morphin times. Morphin time is going to grab each value as the filter runs, right? And so let's go ahead and save this. Alyssa, thank you for pointing this out. We're going to go ahead and save this, make sure it runs, and do a refresh. Still working, right? Still doing the same thing. There we go. It's morphin' time. So see, let's come back to this. I always had a gripe to pick. I've always had a gripe to pick about Power Rangers. They did the reboot. The reboot made a lot of money. They made their money on that reboot. But I was a little disappointed. One, I was disappointed because I don't see any ads on the internet. And since I don't see any ads, I didn't get to see it in theaters. It had entered the movie theaters and left before I could get a chance to see it because I don't see ads. I was very disappointed. Yash, I'll get your stretch in a second. Story time. Now, what I've always wanted is them to not announce a Power Rangers movie. I want it to be like a normal, like gritty drama. Think like Cloverfield. All those kids are like on the roof. There's some sort of monster attacking. They're at like a cool party. They're playing like flip cup and beer pong on like this nice roof in New York. And it's getting really dark and ominous. This monster starts attacking. Everyone's like losing it. Everyone's like freaking out. The whole city's panicking. And then these kids that are at the party just look at each other and they're like, they look at the other person. They're like, mm-hmm. And then in this movie that you thought was a horror movie or something like that, they go, it's morphin' time. And then and they're fucking Power Rangers. That's how you do a Power Rangers movie. People going into the movie have no idea they're seeing a Power Rangers movie. It's just like middle of this like gritty like drama. It's just like boom, morphin' time. That's how and people would lose their mind. It would go viral. Bandai, whoever's in charge of Power Rangers, if you're ever watching this is what we want. As a true fan, that's what I want, right? No lead up, no like nostalgia pulling. Just I want to be in the middle of a movie and lose my shit when they all start morphing. All right, just throwing that out there for you. Yash, you got to stretch. Thank you for the stretch. I'm gonna stretch. You know this is not that kind of content. If you want that, go to my OnlyFans. We'll get stretching real quick. Thank you for the stretch. Oh, yeah. Cool. All right, we got a last question here. Create a function that takes in an array of numbers. Alert the sum of the second lowest and the second highest number. Chat, what was the trick here? What was the trick here? What did y'all do to get the second lowest and the second highest? I like to think that he has thin walls and his neighbors think he really has an OnlyFans. What y'all do to get the? How did y'all do this? Ooh, you sorted it. Nice. You sorted it. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and create a function. Let's create a function. And it's going to return second highest and lowest. So second, low, and high. Cool. It's going to take in an array of numbers. So we're just going to create a parameter called array. Remember, we can call it whatever we want. We're going to call it array. Taking an array. And what we're going to do is we are going to alert the second and highest number. But for this to work, we should probably sort our array. So we should probably sort it so that we have them in order from low to high. So I'm going to say sort equals array.sort, or I'm going to call this sort it, not sort. Sort it equals sort. And then we can pass in A and B, that arrow function, A minus B. This is just one of those things that you should have definitely in your Anki that you commit to memory. This is just the quick way to sort it, right? So this is sort it. And now what we can do is we can go ahead and alert. And what we can do is we can alert sort it. And we know the second lowest will always be the index of 1. And the second highest will be sorted and sorted dot length minus 2. Right? So let's go ahead and save that. And let's go ahead and we're gonna call this. So we're gonna call second, high, and low, and we're gonna put in numbers that we know. So we're gonna do like 2, 3, 4, 1, 5, or let's do 5, 1. So it's kind of mixed up here a little bit. All right. Now let's go ahead and console log it. And let's see what we get as our result. Oh, this is alerting. We don't need to console log it. My bad. Forgot that we were alerting it. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and save this and see what we get. Let's see what we get. So we're expecting the second lowest would be 2 and the second highest would be 4. And so we're expecting 2 plus 4, which is 6. So let's go ahead and save this. Let's go ahead and run it. First try. Let's go. Let's go. Alrighty. What if there are duplicate numbers in the list? Well, we didn't filter out dupes. That'd be a great thing to think about, though. Alrighty. So this is a quick one. Let's talk through what's actually happening here. Let's talk through what's happening here. We are creating a function, and that function is going to take in an array. So here we're calling the function, we're passing in an array. What we're going to do is we're going to sort that array of numbers. So here is just something you should have committed to memory for how do you sort, right? This is the sort method taking in an arrow function to tell it which way to sort it. This does it from least to greatest, right? Or from lowest to highest, right? So now I have sorted my array, my numbers are sorted. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to take the second number in the sorted, so 0, 1, the second number, and I'm going to take the second from the end number, right? So if sorted is all 5 numbers, dot length would be 5, minus 2 is 3. So that would give us the second from the last number. Just like we do sorted dot length minus 1, right? We're just doing minus 1, same thing, except to go not the last number, but the second to last. We just minus 2. So the sort method telescope takes in a function, and that function just describes how it's going to sort the stuff. A minus B is how you get it to go from lowest to greatest. If you do it the opposite, B minus A, you get it from greatest to lowest. 100th try. But let's say you wanted to play with a predetermined array. You could just declare it inside the function. Yeah, you could. And no parameter. That would work. Alrighty. You could also probably do this one in one line. If you would like to give yourself a super duper challenge, try and do this last one in one line. So make that part of your homework. Not necessarily the best way to write the code, but something that's doable. No, that is Simba hitting his bowl because I guess he is hungry and is probably getting close to his dinner time. I don't have some fancy YouTube studio, okay? Let's go ahead and keep moving here. Cool. So we got through arrays, we got through some stuff, we got some review in. Time to hit objects. But before we hit objects, it's time for a break. Go ahead and take 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Gonna put some music on for you. All right, I'm gonna do the squats. I'll be right back. I'm gonna do 5. Be right back. Doing some squats. Let's see how many I can do in 30 seconds. Be right back. Holy smokes. Oh boy. I got 28 and 30 seconds. Not gonna lie, several of us are feeling completely lost tonight. That is fair. There is a lot of new methods that were introduced during the homework that we are using tonight. And so if the homework was tough, then tonight's probably gonna be tough. But we're gonna go over all of them during office hours. So office hours this Saturday is just gonna be us reviewing array methods, getting lots of practice in with them, and kind of finding scenarios where we can use them. So this upcoming office hours will just be array methods, arrow functions, and things like that. So hang in there. We're gonna switch gears, right? We're gonna switch gears. We're going into objects. We're gonna make objects make sense, and then we'll come back over office hours to make sure things are sinking in. So you got about halfway left, 2 minutes, 30 seconds. Grab some water, hydrate, do what you got to do. And we'll be back here. Yeah, that was some, I don't know, Mitch, I don't know how you're doing this every break. You should use channel points for your hair care routine secrets. I got 28 done in 30 seconds. And I was out of breath. I felt like if I went more than 30 seconds, the next like 10 minutes of stream would just be me going. Mitch inspired us to do a squats during the break, so. Definitely length. Just because of the mind-blowing fact of like when you figure out what arrays really are. Yeah. I think that's on the global object. But oh, you said method, not property. Two string for the same thing. I'd rather do squat challenges rather than coding challenges. All right, folks, minute left. Do what you got to do. Come on back. Gonna do a few? Yes, let's go. "40 seconds, and we're gonna do some fun objects. Do I have a schedule for these lessons? Every Tuesday and Thursday we have class, and then every Saturday is office hours. If you're interested, bang, exclamation point 100 devs in chat. We'll give you everything you need to know. Yeah, these ones are a little tough, Chris. These are kind of pushing the things that we learned last class in some weird and not so easy to jump to ways. So I know you're definitely not alone. We'll definitely get lots of review in when it comes time for office hours. All right, folks, come on back. Alrighty, welcome back, folks. Let's go ahead and take a dive into objects. Cool. Chat, what are objects? What did you learn about objects from the reading? What are objects, chat? Smoosh, this is a class. Yes, it's a 30-week boot camp. Welcome. Everything. RPG characters, they're objects, they're things, everything. Cabinets, everything is an object. They have properties and values. Ah, that's a good one, Kat. I like that. Cool. Let's look at some definitions here. Collections are objects are a collection of variables and functions. Objects can be used to represent attributes and behaviors of something used in a program. So keep that idea of like attributes and behaviors. That's kind of the thing that we're going to use when we start thinking about objects. The variables of an object are called properties, and the functions tied to them are called methods. So you're going to think of an object as like a thing that's a collection of variables and functions. Those variables are called properties, and those functions are called methods. And for kind of like a little bit more advanced, we're going to say that this is a keyed collection. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk through like what the heck does that actually mean? All right, I need you to think of like a physical object. Pick something, it could be anything. Physical object. Think about it. What are its attributes? Like, how can you describe it? So I have like a box of Pokemon cards here. I have a box of Pokemon cards here. I don't know if it's going to come on the green screen. I have a box. People are typing in chat. Yeah, I have an object, right? This object has an attribute of color. The color is yellow, right? The color is yellow. The brand is Ultra Pro. The type is a box, right? So it's like all these different attributes that can make up this box, right? It is the shape is rectangular, right? But it has some behaviors. It has the ability to open, right? It has the ability to open. So when I'm thinking about this Pokemon deck box, I'm thinking about its attributes, like its color, its shape, its brand, right? But it also has some behaviors. It can open, right? It can open. So that's what we're thinking about here. Objects, when it comes to programming, are the same exact thing. When we're talking about objects, and when it comes to JavaScript, we're talking about attributes that make up that thing and the behaviors that it can perform or do or things that it can get done, right? And so let's all kind of universally think of one object together. Let's all get into our brains a stopwatch. So let's imagine this stopwatch. Chat, what are some attributes of this stopwatch? What are some attributes of this stopwatch? Like, what are some things that make it up? Color, yeah, it has the color of black. It has the size of medium. It has an attribute of minutes, it has an attribute of seconds, it has an attribute of milliseconds. It has a shape of oval or round. I guess that's round, right? Shape of round, right? It has a screen attribute of true. It has a buttons attribute of true. It has a brand of AccuSplit, maybe is the brand, I'm not sure, right? It probably has a weight, right? It has a digital that is true, is like type is true. Is it analog or digital, right? Cool. It probably has a price. Exactly. It probably has a price. Probably not too expensive, not a name brand one. Maybe this is like a super duper one. I'm just not hip. It's been a while since I ran track. It might have a property of waterproofing. Is it true or not? Right? So we can think of all these attributes that can make up this watch, like ways to describe it, like things that it has. Now, what are some of the behaviors? Like what are some of the things that it can do? What are some things that this stopwatch can do, chat? What are some things that it can do? Yeah. It can start time, it can stop, right? It can start and stop. It probably has the ability to beep. Yeah. So these are like the behaviors. So when we're thinking about objects, we're thinking about the attributes of it, like the shape, the color, right? The brand. But when it comes to JavaScript objects, we call those attributes properties, right? We call them properties. And when it comes to those behaviors like start or stop or beep, we call those methods. So an object is made up of properties and methods. Now, the only thing that we've really seen so far that can represent like these properties or these attributes are variables. And the only thing that we've really seen so far that does like behaviors are functions. And that's exactly what we're going to use when it comes to JavaScript, right? We're going to see that an object is made up of these properties, which look an awful lot just like variables. And we're going to see that it's made up of these behaviors or methods, which are just functions. So here is a way for us to create a stopwatch object using literal notation. Just like we have literal notation for an array, we have literal notation for an object. So here on the very first line, I have literally created a stopwatch object, right? Literally created a stopwatch object. On the second line, I am going to give it a property of current time, right? I'm going to give it a property of current time. Looks an awful lot like a variable, right? Except the variable's tied to the object. And I'm going to give that property the value of 12, okay? So now if I was to ask this stopwatch the current time, it would give me 12. And so what I want to do is I want to go ahead and plug this into my inspector just so we can see that. Copy. I'm going to open up my inspector. I'm going to go to my console. I'm just going to plug this in just so that we can see it. All right, if I ask for stopwatch back, look what I get. You can see that the stopwatch, right? The stopwatch is one object. Notice the object syntax here. You know you're dealing with an object when you see these curly braces, right? You can see that it's an object because of the curly braces. And you can see that that object has current time. That current time is the property, right? So we can say stopwatch is one object that currently has a current time property, and that current time property is 12, okay? Now, don't let the syntax and the punctuation and all that like scare you. At first it's tricky. It's like, all right, what is it? What's going on here? But all it is that we are creating one thing that has some attributes, right? Like the color, the brand, the shape. And we're creating one thing that can also have some behaviors, start, stop. And so this syntax right here, chat, what is this syntax called? What is that syntax called, chat? Dot notation. Exactly. It's called dot notation. We're going to use that dot notation to access all of the properties that that object contains, right? So by doing stopwatch dot current time, you can set a value and you can get a value. So here we are grabbing that stopwatch object and giving it a current time property of 12, right? On the next line, I am grabbing that stopwatch object and giving it a method of tell time. Chat, how do I know that tell time is a method? How did I determine that tell time is a method? How did I know? 195, you got it. I knew it was a method because it was a function, right? I saw that a function comes after, right? So I know that tell time is a method because it's equal to a function. If it was equal to anything other than a function, we're dealing with a what? If we were dealing with anything other than a function, we're going to call that thing a what? A property, exactly. So we can see here current time equals the number 12. That makes current time a property. Tell time, since it's equal to a function, we call it a method. Cool. Now, on this line down here, I'm doing stopwatch dot tell time. And look what I'm doing. I'm using these parentheses here. Ignore this part right here. Ignore that part. Let me just grab this line here. Let me grab this line. I'm gonna grab this line. I'm gonna go to my inspector real quick. I'm just gonna delete it because I want this to be really clear. I want to be able to see this. If I get rid of that that little line there, right? I get rid of that stuff that's inside of there. What is tell time? What does tell time look like? If we just look at this part right here, tell time. Yeah. It's a function call. It's a function call. Yeah. So by right here, what I'm doing is I'm telling this function tell time to run. However, it's not by itself. It's the tell time function that's attached to this stopwatch object. So this stopwatch object has some sort of function that we are telling it to run right here. It's a method, right? So we might call it a method, right? It's a method. It's a function tied to this object. And whenever you have a function tied to the object, we're going to call it a method. You might even say this is a method call, right? So if we go back, so let me make that real clear. If we go back, what we're looking at here is we have created a current time property, and we have created a tell time method. If we want that tell time method to run, we have to call it. Just like we would call any of our other functions, we have to call it. If we want tell time to run, we have to call it. For it to run, it needs those parentheses. Without the parentheses, it'll just spit back out the function, right? So let's take all this. Let's copy all this. Boom, I'm going to copy it. I'm going to open up my inspector. I'm actually going to open it in this one just so I'm not doing anything weird. Open up my inspector. I'm going to go to my console. I'm going to clear this. All right, here we go. I hit enter. I hit enter. Right, so I have all that stuff in there. If I go ahead, let me make this a little bit smaller. If I go ahead and I do stopwatch, and I just ask for the object, look what we get. Look what we get. Let me get my head out the way. Look what we get. That stopwatch object has a current time property, and it has a tell time. And see that little F right there? That's how we know it's a function. That's how we know it's a function, right? So we look at stopwatch. We can see that it has a current time property of 12, and it has a tell time method. So let's go ahead. I'm going to clear this real quick just so we can move it up. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to do stopwatch, and I'm just going to say dot tell time. Chat, is this calling the function? Is this calling the function, chat? Have I called the function here? Nope. What do I need if I'm going to call this function? Nah. What do I need if I'm going to call this function? Yeah, I need the parentheses. Look, watch what happens when I just hit enter. When I hit enter, it gives me the whole function back. It didn't run it. It just gave me the whole function. It gave me the whole function that's stored, right? Right? That's stored in the object. It just gave me that whole function. But if I want to run it, I give the parentheses, and there we go. The current time is undefined. Right? Current time is undefined. Now, the reason the current time is undefined is I didn't pass anything in. So let's go ahead and look. Ooh, wrong one. Let's go ahead and look. Let's go ahead and look. If we look at this function, function's a very simple function. Very simple function. All it does is it takes in, it has a parameter, and we just say the current time is whatever time was passed in. So when I ran that stopwatch.tellTime, I didn't have this. Chat, what is stopwatch.currentTime? What is that going to give me? What is stopwatch.currentTime going to give me? Stopwatch.tellTime is going to give me, stopwatch current time is going to give me 12. So it's as though I have plugged in 12 right here. That 12 then gets plugged into time. And what I'm going to see is the current time is 12. So what I wind up seeing printed to the console is the current time is 12. I have used the property of the stopwatch object, and I have called the tell time method. All right. So I'm using both here. One sets a property. One sets a method. And this is using dot notation. Alrighty. So we have a quick challenge. Well, quickish. So let's go ahead to our starter code. And we're going to look at objects Zio. All right. We're going to go to objects Zio. So let's go ahead and look at that. I'm going to close these two. Of course, I'll always share these after class. All right. Objects Zio. Main.js. And it says create a stopwatch object that has 4 properties and 3 methods. I'm going to go ahead and give you 2 minutes to do this. 2 minutes. Use dot notation. Don't use anything we haven't learned yet. Just dot notation. Go ahead, take 2 minutes, and go ahead and create a stopwatch object that has 4 properties and 3 methods. Look at the slides. If you're lost, look at the slides. Look how we added the current time. Look at how we use the method. Yeah. It's not even enough time to cook my noodles. I need an adult. 2 minutes, 2 minutes. Because we want to go over it together. We're kind of running out of time here a little bit. So look at the slides if you're lost. Look how we did the tell time. Look how we did the current time. If you want to manually control the slides, just chop off the /live. Once you chop off the /live from the end, you can control them however you want. And we're spicing it up a little bit. Spicing it up a little bit. Gonna keep pushing. Got this. Dig deep. Look at the slides if you need some inspiration. Use dot notation. Don't have to get anything fancier. Got 40 seconds. We're gonna go over it together. Put some music on for you. Playground kids wilding. They are. Ooh, Mayu with the done. Okay. I see you. Sabotage done. Alright, alright. Nice. Okay, Mary with the done. Nice. Just yell out the window, hey, I'm streaming. Sheena with the done. Tico with the done. I had a hard time thinking about the properties to come up with. Facts. Thursday is the Big Ting stream, of course. Yes. All right, come on back. Let's go over this together. Brain freeze. That's all right. Come on back. Let's go over this together. All right, so let's go ahead and create our stopwatch object. So let's go ahead and say let stopwatch equal. And how do I create an object using literal notation, chat? How do I create an object using literal notation? How do I do that? Literal notation. Oh, there we go. The curlies. There you go, the curly braces. Cool. All right, so we've created our stopwatch object. Let's go ahead and give it some properties. Stopwatch dot color. I'm gonna make mine black because that's what the example one was. Stopwatch dot brand. I'm gonna set equal. You know what? I'm gonna splash out tonight. I'm gonna splash out a little bit. Nike. Got a Nike stopwatch, not some off the shelf. We got like a good Nike stopwatch. All right. Next. Next, we're gonna do stopwatch dot shape. We're gonna set that equal to round. And last one. These are actually pretty hard to think of the properties. Let's do stopwatch dot. Let's do size. And I splashed out. I got a big one. I got a big boy. I'm gonna say large. Got me a large round Nike black stopwatch. Cool. Now we need 3 methods. Let's do stopwatch dot start. I'm going to set that equal to a function. And we're just going to console log starting. Cool. Then I'm going to do a stopwatch dot stop. I'm going to set it equal to a function. Going to do the same thing, just a console log. And we're going to say stopping. Cool. And we're going to do our last method, stopwatch dot say brand. And we're going to set that equal to a function. And that function is going to alert stopwatch dot brand. Cool. Cool. So let's go ahead and look at this. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to open this in the browser. All right, I'm going to go ahead and open this in the browser. No Domino's stopwatch. I'm going to go ahead and open this in the browser. I'm going to go ahead and inspect. And oh no, the photo didn't load? What? We got to see this Zio photo. Zio.jpg. What's the name of it? I called it Neo. I keep saying Neo for some reason. All right, I'm gonna save that. I want to see the photo. That's pretty dope. All right, let's refresh. Look at that. That's the best face coverings of any of the Power Rangers right there. That's fire. That's fire. I'd wear that. I would totally wear that. That's a good mask these days, right there. In chat, what mask would you wear? The pink, the green, the red, the blue, or the yellow? In chat for me. Yo, people are feeling the red, the star. Interesting. Okay, the green. Seeing a lot of green there. The green's pretty fire too. I think the pink one is dope. It's kind of like a scuba diver. I don't know. Hook me up with the blue though. That's dope. The blue's dope. All right. We're gonna see some influencer wearing these one of these days. It's gonna happen. All right. We're here for the stopwatch. So let's go ahead and ask for stopwatch. Cool. And when I ask for the stopwatch, look what I get back. When I ask for stopwatch, I get this object back. This object has a color property of black, a brand of Nike. It has a say brand method. We can see that there's a function there, right? We can see that it has a size of large. You can see that it has a start and a stop method, right? That stopwatch object has those 4 properties and those 3 methods. And the cool thing is we can ask for them. We can say stopwatch dot color, right? And I'll get black. I can say stopwatch dot start, right? And if I want it to run, remember, if I want it to run, there we go. We get that console log starting. I can do stopwatch dot stop. And once again, we'll get that console log stopping, right? So we had those 3 methods that were on there. What was the third one? Third method was, let's look at this, say brand. So let's do stopwatch dot say brand. There we go. We got the alert, and we can see stopwatch dot brand was Nike. So we see Nike in the alert. Let me do that again. All right, ready? I'm going to run it. All right. Why didn't I get the alert, chat? Why didn't I get the alert? Yeah, no parentheses. If you want it to run for any function, even if it's a method, it needs the parentheses. So run it back. There we go. With the parentheses, we get the alert. Dope. Questions about creating properties or methods using literal notation. And dot notation. We created the object using literal notation. Then we added these 4 properties using dot notation. And we added these 3 methods using dot notations. Any questions? Any questions while we're here? Any questions? I know this is tricky. If this is your first time playing with objects, it's a little hard. It's a little weird. We'll get there. We'll get there. We can pass objects into the object function. Yup. So you can see that right here. I've passed in stopwatch.brand. So I've passed in the property of brand of the stopwatch into my function of alert. Pasta Lord, yes. The methods are always going to have the parentheses if you want them to run. Like if you want them to run that function, you're going to need the parentheses. Can we use bracket notation on properties? Yes, you can use bracket notation. And that's really helpful for stuff that has like spaces in it. But we're not there yet. Don't worry about the brackets for right now. But yes, you can use bracket notation as well. Yeah, so Hunya is the multi-words. You would use the brackets. Are properties usually something primitive? Yeah, they can be. But they can be anything you really want. All right. We're going to use properties all the time. In fact, you've already been using properties all the time. You've been using properties already. You've already been using properties. We're going to get there. We're going to have that big reveal for you in a few seconds. But you've already been using them, right? You've already been using methods. You've been using this whole time, right? Let's get to the let's talk about the reveal then. Let's give the reveal here. All right. Let's talk for a second. Everything in JavaScript is an object. Everything in JavaScript is an object. Okay? So, when you were using dot length on your arrays, what were you using? When you did array dot length, what was dot length? What would we call dot length? Dot length. It was a property. It was a property. There was a length of 4 or a length of 5 or a length of 3. It was a property. If you ever did toString and it worked, that was a method. It's built in the JavaScript. That was a method. So there are some of these things that we've been using, right? If you ever console log something, log is a method on what object? Log is a method on what object, chat? Log is a method on what object? Yeah, the console object. Console was an object, right? Console was an object, and the log was a method for that object, right? Whoa, that's pretty wild. We're gonna see it's gonna make a little bit more sense when we get to our constructors and we can really see like how things are made and we get to those prototypes, right? But we've been using these properties and methods the whole time, and every single thing in JavaScript is an object. It's all objects. And so if you've ever gotten something for free, right? If you ever gotten toString and it worked, right? That was a method built into JavaScript. If you ever did query selector on the document object, that was a method. If you have ever done any of these things, add event listener, that was a method on the document object, right? Everything is objects. So you've been using these properties and these methods this whole time, and everything was just objects. It was these properties and methods on these objects. You did a lot of math.pow, what do we do today? Math.absolute, math.min, math.max. Min, max, pow, absolute were all methods on the math object. You did math.random. Random was a method on the math object. It's all objects, folks. As far as the eye sees, it is objects. Everything's an object. Okay? Now, there's something in JavaScript that makes this all work. And it's a means of what we call an inheritance. There's something called prototypal inheritance. This prototypal inheritance means that we can check the object for these properties or methods, but if it doesn't have that property or method, it can go up the chain and find them. Okay? So if, let's say I don't have a car, but grandma does have a car. Since grandma has a car, I have a car, right? So I check myself. I say, hey, Leon, do you have a car? The answer is no. I go to my mom. Hey, Mom, do you have a car? The answer is no. We go to grandma. Hey, grandma, do you have a car? She says yes. Well, guess what? I got the keys. We're going for a ride, right? So everything's been an object. And the way that we get access to those methods and properties is something innate to JavaScript called prototypal inheritance. It enables us to kind of go up our inheritance chain, like where we get our values from, right? We can keep looking up and up to find these values, okay? So what we're going to do next is we're going to talk a little bit about how we create objects, right? There's kind of two main ways that we can create objects, like a lot of objects, right? There is an older constructor way, and there is a newer class-based syntax, okay? These are two ways to create multiple elements. Once we're able to create a bunch of objects, we're going to see that our objects can have these fallback sources of properties and methods. Those fallback sources of properties and methods are called a prototype. And once we can start accessing the prototype, it's going to make a lot of sense how we were able to have a string, right? Or have a number and call toString on it. It's going to make a lot of sense how we're able to use all these methods, like the length on an array. Like, how are we able to get a property on an array? Once we get to this inheritance, this idea of prototypal inheritance, this fallback sources of properties and methods, your mind's gonna open. It's gonna be like you're gonna have like this mini explosion in your mind. You might already be having a little bit of an explosion, but we haven't gotten there all the way yet. You're gonna have a mini explosion in your mind, right? Once we get to these constructors, right, and how we build objects, and how these objects can have these fallback sources of properties and methods. Your mind will be blown. So we're going to stop here for now, and I'm going to blow your mind next class. All right? So we're going to stop here for now because we got about 6 minutes left. And we're going to pause until next class. I know your brain's hurting. We're going to pause to next class. When we come back from next class, I guarantee I'm going to blow your mind. Your mind will be blown. You do not want to miss Thursday's class. We got a lot of fun stuff. We got a lot of fun stuff that's happening Thursday, but put all that fun stuff to the side. Come to have your mind blown. Mind blown. Okay, blown. All right, that's what you're coming back for on Thursday. So we are going to end with a raid. But before we end with the raid, I want to talk about the homework. The homework is to read through the rest of the slides. If you didn't get a chance to do that, read through the rest of the slides. And then there is the reading that was assigned for the objects reading. There's this objects reading, javascript.info/object. You need to do that reading, and I want you to do all of the tasks. You must do all the tasks, okay? You must do all the tasks. And then I'm going to ask you to also do 3 Code Wars, the fundamentals track. Oops, still Big Leon. So we have this javascript.info. I want you to, because this is kind of already assigned. This reading was already assigned. So I want you to do all the tasks. And I want you to get 3 Code Wars fundamentals due before Thursday. So all the stuff from last week, the tasks that were like you had to do the reading, but I didn't ask you to do tasks. They were going to be due Thursday, and 3 Code Wars fundamentals by next Thursday. Okay? So that's the homework. Let's end with a lovely raid. Let's send somebody some positivity, some follows, some love. Let's go ahead and do that. The person I was gonna raid just ended. Hold on. Alrighty. So let's go ahead this upcoming Thursday. So not next Thursday, this Thursday. I want all this done before Thursday. Because when we come back, we're on Thursday when we come back, we're going to go into objects more. So get some more of your objects reading done, right? Get some objects reading done, right? That way, when we come in on Thursday, right? When we come on Thursday, we're better prepared for objects. Maybe it won't burn our brain as much, right? When we come back on Thursday. So get through all that before Thursday. And let's go ahead and we're going to do the raid right now. So hang around for the raid, get the extra channel points, send somebody some love, some follow, some positivity, and I will see you all on Thursday and on Discord before then. So let's go ahead and do a raid. Splashy actually stopped by our chat. Let's send some love back there. Oh, we have Rav's on. Let's go to Rav. Rav is always in our Discord channel. They're always helping out folks. Let's go ahead and give them some love. There we go. So let's go say hello to Rav. Let's send them some love, some follows, spend some positivity in their chat. They're always helping us out. Let's go help them out a little bit too. Let's say hello. So raid is starting in 2 seconds, and I will see you all over there. Peace. Have a good night, everyone.